Chapter 3794. Dominated by Yu, a strong individual who has never joined any forces before. Over the years, he has been wandering in the three major battlefields, looking for opportunities to treasure, and his strength has continued to improve. There have been rumors that he played against Tianpeng, the master of Beihai Palace, but no one knows the outcome. Today, Yu dominated the trials at the foot of the mountain. Obviously, he had won that battle. After all, Tianpeng came to the test of the foothills 2 years ago. Although he battled the men in black in the consciousness space for a long time, he still couldn't defeat the men in black, and he failed the test of foothills. But Yu dominated it, naturally representing his strength is stronger than Tianpeng dominated. "You're fine." The man in black chuckled and looked at the dominator of Yu in front of him. Most obviously only merges the 4 rules. It is only the master of the first rank, but your combat power is as strong as the master of the second rank. Even in the second grade primary domination, you are very strong. It seems that in this star level, you should be the strongest. Go up. Yu dominates, his face as cold as an iceberg. Hearing the words of the man in black, he nodded slightly, even though he planned to walk up the steps. But at this time the man in black spoke to the crowd again. "Although your level of star practitioners is really low, but this time the red cloud realm opens, and it is not bad for 2 people to run through me." Yes. Ji's pace dominated immediately. Many strong men present also looked at the men in black one after another. 2 people. Besides Yu's domination, has anyone passed the test at the foot of this mountain? Who's that person? Talks began to ring out immediately. Master Yu also looked at the man in black. "Is the ruler?" "Yes." The man in black nodded. He just said that Yu's dominance should be the strongest in the star field. And if the same dominates the test of the foot of the mountain, then this man in black will never be so sure. That is naturally the ruler. After all, the test of stepping on Tianfeng is different from person to person. Different practitioners come to break through this stepping peak. And the strength of the gatekeepers is also different. When Jian Wushuang came to break through, this man in black was just the primary combatant. However, if the master dominates this level, his displayed combat power is the ultimate master, even the second-level combat power. Fortunately, the combat power of Yu's master is considered as the second-level primary master very strong. This can break through. Master Yu did not stay, and continued to walk towards the mountainside. But at the foot of the mountain it exploded. Many practitioners are talking wildly and guessing. Who will be the ruler who broke through the foot of the mountain before the master of Yu? No accident. You should be the Lord of the Blood Sword? The Lord of the Blood Sword? Well, it is very likely that the Lord of the Sword rules will have the strongest strength. The Lord of the Blood Sword and the Blood Slayer Emperor. The primary combat power broke out, although it is also very good. But compared to the Blood Sword Master, it is too far away, the Blood Sword Master. But at the level of the Rule Master has the top dominating combat power, such combat strength. To pass the test of the foot of the mountain, it should be easy. Well, I also think that it is the Lord of the Blood Sword. Except for him, I don't think that anyone else who can pass the test of the foot of the Rule. The Blood Slayer Emperor also came a year ago, and all failed. Many practitioners in this star field almost all believe that the Master of the Rules, that have passed the test of the footsteps of the Tianfeng Mountain, before the of the Demon Domain, is the Sword Unparalleled. This is also normal. After all, Jian Wushuang showed his real strength before. Also dominated by evil, he has the top dominating combat power. The Master of a Rule, with top-level dominating combat power, is simply incredible. So against the sky, the test of Tianfeng alone can't stop him. But now many practitioners in this star field are guessing that Jian Wushuang only passed the test of the foot of the mountain, or that he even passed the test of the mountainside. Even he reached the peak, and went to the second day? Everyone was guessing, and some tried to find out from some of Jian Wushuang's friends. For example, there are owners who ask the mysterious Shinto people, and the Lord of Time and Space, and want to know the answer from their mouths. After all, this matter is no small matter. If Jian Wushuang just passed the test of the foot of the mountain, it would be nothing. Even if he passed the test on the mountainside, although it was amazing, it would not cause much sensation. But if he really set foot on the peak of Tianfeng, he went to the second day. You know that, but no one has reached this starfield for years. The first heaven of the Red Cloud realm contains endless treasures, which is enough to make many practitioners crazy. And what is there in the second heaven? Almost all practitioners in this star field are full of longing for the second day, but they have been unable to go. It can be imagined that if the news that Jian Wushuang went to the second heaven is confirmed, it will inevitably set off a huge wave in this star field. Everyone, a master has come to me again. I also asked Tian Ho Xiaoyu whether he entered the second sky of the Red Cloud realm. I also agreed, according to what we had previously said, that he had passed the double test of stepping on the foot of Tianfeng Mountain, but the test at the summit failed to break through, and naturally failed to enter the second day, and now he has left the Red Cloud realm, and is on his way back to my star palace. Mysterious Shintos and swords are unparalleled, the Lord of time and space, the Lord of heaven and the heavenly ancestors are communicating with each other. Haha, another one. Is this the eighth Lord who is asking you? The Lord of time and space laughed. Don't say you, there are several who came to inquire about you. The mysterious man smiled. Jian Wushuang has broken through the triple test of Tiantian Peak, and has entered the second heavy sky of the Red Cloud realm. With this news, the four people of Xian Shinto, the Master of Time and Space, the Master of the Cut Heaven Alliance, and the Ancestor of Heaven have long known. After all, they are definitely on the same line as Jian Wushuang. And Jian Wushuang has nothing to hide from them. After knowing the news, even the four masters were excited for a long time. At the same time, they also knew from Jian Wushuang's mouth that he had gained a lot of benefits in the second day. Even now he is in the midst of opportunity, but what benefits did he get? Jian Wushuang did not explain, and several of them also no inquiry. And considering that someone would doubt whether Jian Wushuang entered the second day, they unified their speeches long before. All said that Jian Wushuang only passed the test of the foot and the mountainside, but in the test of the peak he lost. End of this chapter. Chapter 3795. No way. If you say to the outside world that Jian Wushuang has already passed the triple test of Tianfeng and entered the second day, it will definitely set off a huge wave in this star field. And Jian Wushuang will certainly be used by many ulterior motives to keep an eye on. Although Jian Wushuang's current strength in this star domain, there is no need to fear anything, but it is still better to be cautious. Now they say that Jian Wushuang passed the two tests before stepping on Tianfeng, but it was a proper benefit to lose in the third test, which is the test of the peak. After all, so far, no one in this starfield has been able to pass the test of the mountainside except for Sword Wushuang. Many practitioners in this starfield are as powerful as Yu, and they can only struggle in the test of the mountainside. One or two, and there is no way to break through. And even if there is a third test above the peak, no one can be sure about this star field. With the incomparable strength demonstrated by Jian Wushuang, he has passed the test of the foot of the mountain and the mountainside, but he cannot pass the test of the peak, which is totally acceptable. Even if someone still doesn't believe it, don't need to explain too much. Heavenly friend, this Red Cloud realm is about to close again soon, but you said that you would still stay in the Red Cloud realm? Xian Shindao said suddenly. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. This Red Cloud realm is not as simple as I thought before I waited. I passed the test of stepping on the peak of the sky, and got the qualification to enter the Red Cloud realm at any time. Cultivation in the double sky, so time and space cut sky. You too can return directly to the Star Palace, without waiting outside, and after returning to the Star Palace, declare to the outside that I retreat. Jian Wushuangdo. Okay. The Lord of Time and Space nodded. That being the case, then I and time and space will not wait for you. We will go back first. The Confederate Emperor smiled heartily. The two of them already knew that Jian Wushuang had gone to the second sky, and they themselves did not have the strength to go to the second sky, so they were too lazy to go to Tianfeng, and they were ready to leave the Red Cloud realm. Tian Ho Xiaoyu, how long will you stay in the Red Cloud realm? Tianzu asked suddenly. I don't know, but it shouldn't take too long. Jian Wushuang flatly said. Yes, when I return from the Red Cloud Realm, it will surprise everyone. Surprise! Mysterious Shinto man, Lord of Space and Time, Lord of the Heavens and Heavenly Ancestor all had a look. Haha, why? Not only did you get the chance in the second day, but you also got something we didn't use. Laughed the leader of the Celestial Alliance. Can you still bring us some of the strongest treasures from the second day? Xian Shinto also joked. Jian Wushuang didn't say much, and chatted a few more words at random, then interrupted the communication. In the second day, Jian Wushuang shook his head with a smile after retracting the summoning order. Xian, they are afraid they don't know yet. The surprise I want to give them is the strongest treasure. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. Lord Wu promised him, and before he left, he could pick some treasures to take home. Those treasures said by Lord Wu are the strongest treasures at the level of necessity, like Shuangguang and Tianyi. Maybe he can't wait for a few, but the most ordinary strong treasures. Obviously Lord Wu doesn't care much, he can go back a lot. There are a few of mysterious gods, and there are not a few of them that are the strongest. He only needs to bring some of the strongest Jibao back, and give them a few people to use. Their strength can completely reach a new level. In the beginning, the strength of the Divine Realm and the Star Palace camp will naturally be stronger. Keep enlightening. Jian Wushuang calmed down quickly, and continued to practice and enlighten himself under the opportunity on the island of the Second Heaven. Within the Red Cloud Realm, the last 10 years passed quickly. In the past 10 years, the number of strongmen who have broken into Tianfeng has been countless, but except for Jian Wushuang, who broke through in the beginning, and Jiyu, who later broke through, there is no third person in this star domain. Passing the test of the foot of the mountain. The master of that Jiyu only just passed the test of the foot of the mountain. At the test of the mountainside, he was easily defeated by the guards. At the end of the last 10 years, many practitioners in the Red Cloud Realm have left the Red Cloud Realm. Even those who are unwilling to leave will be sent out by the Red Cloud Realms. The entire Red Cloud Realm immediately fell silent, and only after hundreds of millions of years, the next Red Cloud fog tide appeared, and this Red Cloud Realm appeared again in front of the world. At least most practitioners in this star field think so, but only a few people know that this time the Red Cloud Realm opened. And there was a stranger like Jian Wushuang, which directly broke through the test of stepping to the peak and entered the second place. Heaven, and these years, has been quietly enlightened in the second heaven. The years are flowing, quietly passing by. In a flash, the Red Cloud Realm has been closed for 8,000 years. Jian Wushuang came to the second heaven with about 2,000 years left before the Red Cloud Realm closed. In other words, his second day in the Red Cloud Realm has been spent for thousands of years. For tens of thousands of years, he has been taking advantage of various opportunities on the island of Second Heaven to improve his strength. With the help of these opportunities, his progress is naturally very great. On the second day, this is an area of the island with a range of hundreds of thousands of miles. This is an open area, but on this open area, there is a heavy lavender prohibition. There are nearly 24 restrictions, each of which exudes a strong breath, and one is stronger than the other. Jian Wushuang sat before the first heavy restraint, his eyes closed slightly. Broken! A light groan suddenly sounded, and a horrific sword exploded from Jian Wushuang's body, rushing directly into the restraint in front, and rammed inside the restraint. Although this is only the first ban, and is the weakest of all bans, even if you want to forcibly break the ban, even the second-ranking dominator will be difficult to achieve. But now, under the impulse of Jian Wushuang's sword, this heavy prohibition has begun to break down quickly. Just a moment later, this first ban was completely gone. It took a full 4,000 years to finally break this first kendo ban. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes were full of surprise. 4,000 years. That's right. Jian Wushuang had stayed for 4,000 thoughts before the ban. Kendo ban. It is a great opportunity for kendo on this island. Each of these bans requires a certain degree of understanding of kendo to be able to crack. When Sword Wushuang arrived at the first heavy kendo ban, Only 1/10 of this kendo prohibition can be cracked. In the past 4,000 years, he has gradually studied and understood step by step, and finally completely broke the complete first. His consciousness in kendo has naturally been greatly improved. Chapter 3796. This is the first kendo ban. I have split it. As for the second, Jian Wushuang also tried to break the second prohibition, but after trying, Jian Wushuang shook his head helplessly. This second kendo ban is probably 10 times more complicated and difficult than the first kendo ban. It is extremely difficult for me to break the first kendo ban. I want to break the second kendo, and I don't know what year where is Mayu? Jian Wushuang sighed. For the first heavy kendo ban, he spent a full 4,000 years. This is because he has a certain level of understanding in the origin of kendo, so that he can continue to study it step by step. The second ban, the underlying kendo universe, is obviously deeper, and the difficulty of cracking must be more than 10 times. In a short period of time, Jian Wushuang was not sure to crack this second ban. Nothing, I have benefited a lot from breaking the first kendo ban. As for this second kendo ban, I will try again when I have a chance. Jian Wushuang muttered. In the past 10,000 years, he has been enlightened by various opportunities on the island, and has improved his strength. After thousands of years, he has made the most progress in kendo, which is enough to break the immediate kendo ban. Even if the first kendo is banned, the second level master, who is usually good at kendo, is difficult to crack. In other words, his accomplishments in kendo alone are now no less than dominated by the third level. This is just on kendo. In terms of rules, the fourth rule, the earth rule, he has learned is now fully understood, but he has not yet perfectly integrated with the other 3 rules. Although under the statue of Wu Wu, he was already familiar with the fusion of the 4 rules of time and space, reincarnation, destruction, and the earth. But it was obviously not so easy to truly merge himself. As for the laws of the universe, he still hasn't really gotten started. But the atmosphere of the laws of the universe he has mastered is getting stronger and stronger. Jian Wushuang understands that after all, the laws of the universe are the only ones who are truly qualified to be involved. Even if the master wants to participate in enlightenment, it is difficult to go to heaven, let alone the ruler. He can't be in a hurry, he can only slowly improve and slowly realize. After 10,000 years of enlightenment, until now, I feel that my strength seems to have reached a kind of bottleneck, especially in terms of kendo and rules. Jian Wushuang frowned. He has already noticed that even on this island, even with the help of many opportunities, his progress has been getting slower and slower. As he said, he has now reached the bottleneck. This kind of bottleneck can't be broken by simply continuing to rely on enlightenment here. Instead, it requires those incomparably special states such as epiphany, especially the kind of epiphany in life and death, is enough for a person to undergo qualitative transformation. What Jian Wushuang lacks now is this transformation. I have been for a long time. I have not experienced the feeling between life and death. Jian Wushuang shook his head. No way, as his strength continues to improve, especially the substantial increase in life-saving ability, in this star domain, no one can threaten him. Even if it is stronger than the master, the general master can easily crush it, even if it is a top master. If he still needs to be treated diligently 1,000 years ago, now, after 1,000 years, the average top master also threatens him. It can be said that now he is walking sideways in this star field. Except for some of the most dangerous places in the 3 battlefields, no one can threaten him, and naturally no one can push him to the edge of death. Jian Wushuang thought about it for a while. Last time he was on the verge of death, a long time ago, in the 3 sacred realms on Palau Island, the time to set up the Tian Luo Di net to kill him. That time, he was indeed on the verge of life and death. After that battle, he was never forced into extremity by anyone. I now understand why the powerful person in the universe, after standing invincible in a star field, would choose to enter the depths of the universe. Indeed, invincible in a star field, there is no way to experience life and death, and strength will stagnate. Only by constantly taking risks and constantly challenging the existence of stronger, Can strength continue to improve? Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. Unfortunately, I now have the crisis of Devil Cloud Star. I must be afraid of the early gods and cannot leave so freely. But in this star field, I should already be considered invincible. In this case, I wanted to experience the feeling of life and death. You can only go to the deepest part of the 3 major battlefields, and those places where even the masters will be frightened will go for a break. As for this Red Cloud world, I should also leave. Jian Wushuang squinted his eyes slightly, and his mind was determined. Master Fog, Jian Wushuang said loudly. A figure soon condenses in the void around Jian Wushuang, which is the master of fog in charge of everything in the Red Cloud realm. Little guy ready to leave? Master Wu looked at Jian Wushuang. Well, Jian Wushuang nodded. I'm progressing slowly on this island, and obviously has reached the bottleneck, and I can't comprehend the laws of the universe in a short time. In that case, staying here also it's useless. It's better to go outside and look for other opportunities. As for the test of the second day, I will come in again when I realize a little bit of the law of the universe. Okay, this is the token of the Red Cloud realm. With this token, you can come to this Red Cloud realm at any time in the future. Master Wu gave a token to Jian Wushuang. With the token, Jian Wushuang secretly rejoiced. After all, with this token, he can enter the Red Cloud realm at any time in the future. The many opportunities of this second world of the Red Cloud realm are very useful to him. Besides, I promised you before, let you pick some treasures that you can use. I will let you pick them now. Master Wu finished. Turning over his hand, an ancient black tower immediately appeared in the hand. This black tower is divided into 3 floors, and its structure is very unique. Hundreds of millions of treasures previously absorbed by the Red Cloud realm are located in this tower. The tower is divided into 3 floors. The first floor is the most trashy and lowest treasure. This kind of treasure will give you hundreds of thousands. Millions are fine. The second layer is a treasure of ordinary level, which is the strongest treasure in your star field. Let you choose 100 pieces. As for the third layer in the end, it is the strongest treasure of the highest level like your wing. Now there are only dozens left. I can only let you choose one. Are you satisfied? Master Wu looked at Jian Wushuang. End of this chapter. Chapter 3797. Satisfied, of course. Jian Wushuang nodded without hesitation, but his heart was ecstatic. Although the treasures on the first floor are in the eyes of Mr. Hayes, many of them are top-level and even top-level cosmic treasures. Such treasures are enough to drive the rulers crazy, some powerful peak treasures. In this star field, even the master will pay great attention. As for the second and third layers, let alone the second layer, the strongest treasure, anyone is enough to make this star field many dominate eyes, and even crazy. But the Mr. promised that the sword has 200 feet. The third layer, the best of the strongest treasures, dozens of pieces together, can be compared to a rule of treasures, although Master Wu promised to give one more. But Jian Wushuang has been very satisfied. Little guy, you can now enter this tower and choose it by yourself. With a wave of Master Wu, the 3-story black tower began to enlarge before the sword had no double sides, and soon it became a towering tower. Jian Wushuang did not hesitate, and went directly into the tower. The first floor of the black tower is actually a dark space. Jian Wushuang did not see any treasure in this dark space, but an extremely detailed list of treasures appeared in his eyes. This list, information, it's too big. There is no way. After all, there are hundreds of millions of treasures here. There are hundreds of millions of treasures. Ordinary people are afraid that they will not record this piece of treasure on this list. It is too boring in the Red Cloud realm to make a hierarchy of these treasures, and also record the information of these treasures. Of course, the information of these treasures is only the simplest one, that is, the pure treasure name and its category. With so much information, Jian Wushuang naturally didn't bother to look at it carefully. He was directly at the top level of the treasure, and he randomly selected a full 100,000 pieces. These 100,000 pieces of the top-level treasure, all kinds of are have. 100,000 peaks should be enough. Jian Wushuang muttered. Pinnacle, of course, he didn't need it himself. But in the beginning, the divine realm was useful. After all, there is a potential threat from Devil's Star in the beginning of the deities. And it will not take long for the top power of Devil's Stars to feel that the entire deity of the deities must be fully united. And it will be a battle with the Devil's Stars. The Masters of Many Rules will also contribute. These peaks are definitely helpful to the rulers of the early gods, at least enough to increase the combat power of the rulers. As for the number of 100,000 pieces, although Master Wu said that he would require hundreds of thousands, millions would be fine, but the rulers of the rule of the gods in the early days all add up, and it is estimated that there are only thousands. It may not be all good if you do and take so many treasures and take too much out. After the first layer was selected, Jian Wushuang came to the second layer soon. The second layer of the treasures are the strongest treasures, including body armor, realm, flying, soul, and repression. Jian Wushuang also began to pick it up. The selection of these strongest treasures is mainly selected for the masters of the Xian Shinto, the Lord of Time and Space, the Lord of the Heavens, and the Celestial Master, and the ancestors of the heavenly miracles. As for the Master, there can be several strongest treasures, which can definitely raise the strength to a whole new level. Soon the 100 pieces were the strongest treasures, and the sword was unparalleled, and the most powerful ones were attacking soldiers and armors, followed by the strongest treasures for auxiliary purposes such as flight and field. In addition, he also selected 40 pieces. Later, Jian Wushuang entered the third floor of the tower. Still in a dark space, there is still a treasure list appearing in front of the sword without double sides. However, the number of treasures in this list of treasures is much smaller than the first two layers. The total of the top treasures here is less than 100 pieces, but there is no doubt that the value of any of the strongest treasures in the third layer is very amazing, far above the ordinary strongest treasures in the second layer. The only treasure that can be selected in this third layer, Jian Wushuang, is intended for himself. After all, although he has enough treasures, there is still room for improvement. And a good treasure can also greatly improve his strength. Just like Shuangguang Yentiani, this Shuangguang Yentiani has greatly increased his strength. Although the number of treasures in this third layer is not large, they are all in all aspects. Jian Wushuang looked at the treasure information on this list, but his eyes were getting brighter and brighter. Indeed, some of the treasures on this list have a lot to do with him. For example, Jian Wushuang now sees one of the most precious things, the Shadow Warframe. According to the information on this list about the Shadow Warframe, although it is only a body armor, its value is more valuable than the same level of field and flying treasures. The reason for this is that the Shadow Warframe itself is a rule of treasure. Although it is the lowest law treasure, the value is still very important. Later, after several battles, this Shadow Warframe has been damaged again and again. The power was greatly weakened, and when it was later disintegrated by bombardment, some people got the pieces of the Shadow Warframe and re-refined it, but the refining level was a little worse. Arcana, reduced to the level of the strongest universe arcana. Of course, even if it is no longer a rule of treasure, the power of this Shadow Demon Warframe is still far above the usual strongest treasure Warframe, at least more powerful than the sword-unmatched Wujin Demon Armor. The predecessor of this Shadowcraft is the rule of treasure. Even after disintegration and refining, the power is much worse than before. After all, there is the foundation of the rule of treasure. No wonder its prohibition is more precious than the same level of field and flying mini. Jian Wushuang secretly sighed. He considered the Shadow Warframe, but gave it up. After all, he now has Wujin Demon Armor. Although the ability to protect the body is not as good as the Demon War Armor, it is not too bad. With his own body, he can already let him in this star. The realm is rampant. He does not need to pursue a stronger Arcana Warframe. As for the power of the Shadow Warframe itself, those powers certainly need certain conditions to be able to trigger. Like the Wujin Demon Armor, he barely was able to urge the second power, which is the blessing of 30% of the Demon Dragon. The Shadow Warframe has the foundation of the rule of treasure. It may be harder to provoke its power. he still does not know whether he can meet the requirements for his power. The 24th volume of the beginning of the Lord. This is the end of the beginning of the kingdom of God. Everyone will wait and see. End of this chapter. Chapter 3798. I'd better be able to pick a magic sword or domain treasure that can be more powerful. Sword Warrior indifferently said. Natural sword, needless to say. His Huangquan divine sword is the strongest treasure. With Huangquan divine sword in hand, his sword power can be greatly improved. If it is replaced with a more powerful divine sword, his sword power it can naturally be stronger, and its strength can be improved to a certain extent. As for the domain treasure, it is equally useful to him. After all, his Wing Shuangguang and Tianyi have the trick of Shuangguang realm, which can be used with the domain class treasure. Before, he only had the peak domain class and treasure magic sand field. In cooperation with the Shuangguang realm, the power was not too outrageous. But if there can be a strongest treasure in the field, they will naturally be stronger. The most powerful domain category is the most precious. I have already obtained it in the second layer, but only the general category domain category is the strongest. It may not be able to give full play to its advantages in the field, if it is the strongest category in the highest level kind of treasure. Jian Wushuang eyes zoomed. The most powerful field of the highest level is the treasure, combined with the Shuangguang realm. That field is suppressed. I am afraid that even if it is the master of the first level, it will be difficult to fall into his field. Even the master of the second level will be defeated. He suppressed it sharply. And the domain class treasure has a benefit. It can greatly suppress many people at the same time, not just suppress one person. You should know that Jian Wushuang will stand in the early God's realm camp in the future, and he will definitely fight against the Demon Star. At that time, the Demon Star army will kill him. If his side has a powerful field means and oppresses the audience, it will be enough for the early God. The faction in the world side has no small chance to improve. The strongest superb sword in the highest level may have improved my own strength, but if it has been in that battle, its role must not be as great as the field sword. And if the sword is in the future, if I am lucky after going through the second test of the Red Cloud realm, you can choose the magic sword with the rule of the treasure level. And the magic sword with the rule of the treasure level is far more powerful than the strongest treasure of the highest level. Jian Wushuang groaned inwardly. He soon took notice. Select the best category of the highest level of treasure. Among the strongest treasures at the third level of the highest level, there are 3 in the domain category, and Jian Wushuang quickly picked one out of these 3. The most powerful field in the superb level is Arcana, Triple Magic Mirror. The reason why Jian Wushuang chooses this near-field class is because the use of this triple magic mirror is not only 1 but 3. First, suppress. Second, shock. Third, strangling. The first level of suppression is the same as the ordinary domain class treasure. It gives the other party the greatest degree of restriction and oppression in the field, which sharply reduces the strength of the other party. Of course, the strongest domain class treasure of the highest level is definitely more effective than the second tower layers, that are generally the strongest areas are much stronger. The second shock is a large-scale field shock. Of course, unlike the normal field shock, this triple magic mirror field has a very wide range of impacts, which can cover a range of nearly 1,000,000 miles. You know, the general domain category treasures can cover a range of thousands of miles, which is relatively good. Like some of the strongest domain category treasures in the second floor of this tower, the range of full impact is only about 100,000 miles, and the area impact for millions of miles. Only this triple magic light mirror is available, and on the way to the impact, the soul power of Jian Wushuang can also cover that magic light. Do not underestimate this. You must know that in some special places, the soul perception ability is greatly limited. Just like in the Red Cloud realm, Jian Wushuang's soul perception range can cover 100,000 miles at most. Deeper into the 3 major battlefields, in some extremely dangerous places, it is possible to suppress the range of soul perception to only tens of thousands, or even thousands of miles. In this case, Jian Wushuang fully exerts the field impact of the triple magic light mirror and covers the power of the soul on that magic light. Then, with the impact of the magic light, you can explore the range of 1,000,000 miles in this case. This use is very rare. As for the final third strength power hang, that is to directly rely on the powerful power of the realm to annihilate and kill those who are trapped in the realm. With the current strength of Jian Wushuang, if he controls the triple magic light mirror with all his power, he can easily kill the ruler. Even those weak masters will not be able to sustain it for a long time under his realm. For only one person, the top masters dare not ignore the strangulation power in this field. Triple power, 3 different functions, power is extremely good. Therefore, Jian Wushuang chose this triple magic mirror. After the selection, Jian Wushuang walked out of this tower. Master Wu, this is the treasure I picked. Please look over it. Jian Wushuang handed the list of treasures he picked to Master Wu. Master Wu took a look and nodded slightly. Your boy's vision is not bad. The treasures you choose are all relatively good at the same level, especially the triple magic mirror, which has 3 different functions, which are different, and their value it is more precious than other superb treasures. Such treasures need only add 10 pieces together, and they should be comparable to one of the lowest rule treasures. Jian Wushuang heard, with joy flashing in his eyes. Hold on. Master Wu has already selected those treasures for Jian Wushuang according to the list. The selection is completed soon. Oh, this is what you want, all in this Qingquan ring. Master Wu passed a Qingquan ring to Jian Wushuang. When Jian Wushuang took it, he felt excited. There are 100,000 pieces of peak treasures, 100 strongest treasures in the Black Tower, and the strongest field of the highest level that he himself uses. Arcana triple magic light mirror. Little guy, everything has been entrusted to you, you can leave. Master Wu waved, when even a complete space channel appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. I hope it won't be long before you can come back here again, and that time we'll be able to break through the test of the second day. For sure. Jian Wushuang nodded his head. Even though the spin directly entered the space channel, it soon disappeared. Master Wu, looking at the slowly converging space channel, his eyes narrowed slightly, but he was lost in thought. The huge red cloud world finally calmed down completely. End of this chapter. Chapter 3799. One of the 3 battlefields is Red Rock Mountain. Since the Red Cloud realm was closed again, this Red Rock Mountain has once again restored its former appearance. Many practitioners from this star field are still wandering around the Red Rock Mountain, eager to get the opportunity from it and get the treasure. Somewhere in Red Rock Mountain, the red blood-like center of the earth suddenly appeared a heavy vortex. This vortex is getting bigger and more complete, just like a space channel. This sudden change immediately attracted the attention of 2 rulers nearby. What is this? Whirlpool. Is there a treasure to be born? The 2 rulers, one is the peak of the 4 realms, and the other is not too strong shortly after entering the 5 realms. At this moment, the 2 of them are standing on a bloodstone, looking at the ground below with expectation. Swirl. Red Rock Mountain has unlimited opportunities, and there are many treasures. The sudden change now makes them subconsciously believe that there is a treasure born. As a result, as the vortex gradually became complete, no treasure was extended from the inside. Instead, a figure directly rose up. Out! A hearty laughter resounded in this world. This laughter, with a hint of joy. The 2 rulers on the bloodstone immediately widened their eyes. It's a person, is it a person? This look and this terrifying breath. Is the Lord of the Blood Sword. The Lord of the Blood Sword? Didn't he return to the Star Palace long ago, and has been in retreat all these years? The masters of these 2 rules face each other, and both can see the horror in each other's eyes. At first in the Red Cloud realm, a large number of practitioners in this star field tried to break into Tianfeng, and as the first genius recognized in this star field, at the main level of the rule, the Blood Sword Master with the top dominating combat power, his achievements naturally attracted the attention of many people. Everyone is speculating whether the Lord of the Blood Sword can pass the test of stepping on the peak of the sky. It was only speculation and speculation, but there was no specific answer. Later, It came out from the Star Palace that the Lord of the Blood Sword passed the test of the foot of the mountain and the mountainside, but lost the test of the peak, and then left. After the Red Cloud Realm returned to the Qing Palace. These years have also been closed in the Qing Palace. Most people choose to believe this news from the Star Palace, but there are still a few people who still question it. But whether it is believed or questioned, anyway, the Red Cloud world has been closed, and naturally no one has any more thoughts. But now, the two rulers saw with their own eyes Jian Wushuang emerge from the bottom of the Red Stone Mountain, under the Red Rock Mountain. Everyone knows that this is where the Red Cloud Realm is located, but it is impossible to enter at ordinary times. In other words, Jian Wushuang did not leave the Red Cloud Realm to return to the Star Palace at first. He has stayed in the Red Cloud Realm all these years, and only really came out of the Red Cloud Realm today. The only reason why he can do this is that he passed the test of climbing Tianfeng and went to the legendary second sky. Did he actually pass the test of stepping on Tianfeng? The Red Cloud world has been closed for a long time, but he can stay in it all the time. He has not passed the test of climbing the Tianfeng peak, has certain privileges, and how can he do it? The two rulers secretly groaned, and they were ready to immediately inform the forces in which they were located, and let the news be announced. But before they could send a message, they saw a ghostly figure suddenly passing through the center of the two of them. The sword-unmatched figure that had been in their eyes clearly disappeared. I have no grudges with the two, but am sorry to avoid unnecessary trouble. Jian Wushuang's voice sounded in the ears of the two rulers, both of whom were staring with wide eyes and showing the color of terror. But their voice had been completely cut off. With a wave of his hand, Jian Wushuang directly annihilated the bodies of the two ruler masters, and after collecting the treasures they left, he shook his head gently. I didn't expect that I came out of the Red Cloud Realm, but also met people. It's the same to come out of life and death. But I was too careless at the time of life and death, and my strength was not so arrogant at that time, so it would cause many subsequent troubles. But this time there will be no trouble. Jian Wushuang smiled. With the lesson from the last life and death, this time when he came out of the Red Cloud Realm to see the two rulers, he immediately shot and killed the two rulers to ensure that they did not have time to pass the news. It's time to return to the horoscope. The swordless two-way mysterious Shinto sent a message that he had come out of the Red Cloud Realm, and then swept directly outside the Red Stone Mountain. The place where Jian Wushuang came out of the Red Cloud Realm was not the deepest part of the Red Cloud Realm. It was just the periphery. The current strength of Jian Wushuang was completely rampant on the periphery of the Red Cloud Realm. He was not hindered along the way. After leaving the Red Cloud Realm, it took some time to return to the Star Palace. Back to the Xinggong Palace, the four people who have received the news, the Xianshan Taoist, the Lord of Time and Space, the Lord of Heaven and Earth, and the Heavenly Ancestor are already waiting here. In a separate space-time, Jian Wushuang sat side by side with the Xian Shinto, the Lord of Time and Space, the Lord of the Heavens and the Heavenly Ancestor. Tianho Xiaoyu, you should not be a small harvest in the Red Cloud World's second day in the world, right? Xian Shinto asked with a smile. It's not small. Jian Wushuang nodded. How about strength? How about the improvement? It's a lot higher than before. Now I can walk horizontally in this star field. Even if it is the top master in general, it can't help me. Jian Wushuang smiled. He is still more modest. In fact, during the 10,000 years of the Red Cloud Realm, he has continuously improved his strength with the many opportunities in the second heaven, especially in Kendo. The improvement is too great. Now his accomplishments in Kendo and swordsmanship are much stronger than the many masters in this star domain, coupled with the advantages of Jibao mystery and other aspects. Now he can easily defeat the average top master. www.novel. Even reaching the second level, such as this star field, is now recognized as the first GU dominates, although Jian Wushuang now has no absolute certainty to defeat him. But as long as he is given some time to let him refining the first volume of the Dragon Demystification, it should be easy to defeat GU. Of course, the absolute strength possessed by Jian Wushuang can be somewhat concealed in front of the Xian Shinto people. By 4, I returned from the Red Cloud Realm this time, but it brought a surprise to everyone. Jian Wushuang said suddenly. Chapter 3800. Surprise! The 4 masters looked all moved. Surprise is in this Qianquan ring, let's take a look. Jian Wushuang took Qianquan ring out. Guess what's this surprise? The mysterious Shinto man looked around with a smile. I want to say that it should be 1 or 2 strongest treasures. Tianzi's eyes lightened. What can be regarded as a surprise by Tianhou Xiaoyu is definitely some of us who can use it. Balking is the strongest treasure. Or it may be a special opportunity. Is it possible that it is a special treasure comparable to Jintianbei? The master of space and time guessed. The 4 laughed and guessed. But their consciousness had already sunk into the Qianquan ring. And soon the contents of the Qianquan ring were swept again. Suddenly, these 4 god-level powers who were absolutely superior in the early days of the divine realm. At this moment their eyes were staring round. And their mouths opened involuntarily. They were completely trapped there. There is no way, it is really the things in the Qiangquan ring. It is really shocking. All treasures are all treasures, and looking at the breadth, they are all peak treasures. So many peak treasures. There must be tens of thousands of them? No, not only the peak arcana, but also the strongest arcana. Look carefully. The consciousness of the 4 of them has been carefully investigated. In addition to a large number of peak treasures, there are also some breath from the treasure, which should be far above the peak. The unique breath is impressive. Only the strongest treasure can have. It's the strongest treasure, and it's not just 1 or 2. Do you have dozens of them? How can it be? This. How come there are so many strongest and highest peak treasures? All 4 masters were frightened. Pinnacle treasure is already extremely precious in this star field. And even the master will pay great attention. After all, in this star field, the rule master is generally difficult to have the pinnacle. And most of the masters only use the pinnacle. Many are not the strongest treasures in hand. As for the strongest treasure, let alone, any one is enough to make the dominator's eyes narrow, and even crazy. As crazy as the competition in the Red Cloud world. Those masters are so eager to get the strongest treasure in the Red Cloud world. And Jian Wushuang said that it brought them a surprise. The 4 of them also guessed that Jian Wushuang's surprise might be the highest treasure. If there are only a few peak treasures in this ring, or there are 2 or 3 strongest treasures, they will never be so disoriented despite surprises. But the key is that the peaks and treasures they now see from this ring of heaven and earth are piled up like mountains, with tens of thousands of pieces. And the strongest treasure, the same number is quite large, at least dozens of them are there. With so many peaks and even strongest treasures, how can they not be excited and lose their state of mind? Heavenly friend, Jiantianhe. The eyes of the 4 masters all looked at Jian Wushuang in unison. All 4 eyes were extremely hot. Heavenly friend, how many peaks and strongest treasures are there in the ring? The Lord of Time and Space asked excitedly. The peak treasure is a total of 100,000. As for the strongest treasure, there are also 100. Jian Wushuang smiled. 100,000 peak treasures, 100 strongest treasures? The 4 dominating heads were all chuckled. They were really scared by this amount, and it took them a long time to return to God. Heavenly friend, what is going on here? What great opportunity did you get in the Red Cloud realm? Xian Shinto asked. Well, Jian Wushuang shook his head and smiled. I can only say that there is indeed a great opportunity in the Red Cloud realm. But what exactly is the opportunity? Because of some special relationships, I can't say clearly, but I can do these precious things. Let me tell you, these treasures are all treasures owned by Red Cloud World. And they are only a small part of Red Cloud World. Small part? All 4 masters were stunned. For people also know that every time the Red Cloud realm is opened, a large number of arcanas are born, and Red Cloud World has been born many times now. But the number of arcanas that are born each time is still countless. Mainly because there is a huge treasury. There are a lot of scary treasures. There are hundreds of millions of pieces. Even the strongest treasure, there are many. Jian Wushuang said. After he had said this, He immediately heard the sound of the four masters twitching his throat. This sword is also unsurprising. Even myself, when I heard Master Wu talk about the treasures owned by the Red Cloud Realm, I was also shocked. Only later did I know the existence of the Law treasure, and then I gradually understood it. These hundreds of millions of treasures are naturally incredible to our star field. But the Red Cloud world has a huge history. These treasures are nothing to the Red Cloud world. I passed the test of Tian Peak, so I managed the Red Cloud. The adult in the world allowed me to go to the treasure house to select the treasure, and gave me the authority to be able to select 100 pieces of the strongest treasure. As for the peak treasure, he didn't have too many constraints. If I wanted to, I would take the number. The 100,000 peak treasures are not a problem. It's just that I don't think it would be a good thing if the number of peak treasures is too much, so I know that I have selected 100,000. It is your 100 strongest treasures. I have carefully selected them. Jian Wushuang smiled with that said. The four dominating faces in front of them had already become red, and all four were faintly panting. Obviously, the surprise that Jian Wushuang gave them this time was really too big. However, the four masters also experienced many storms, and it didn't take long for them to calm down. Heavenly friend, you really gave us a big surprise this time, Xian Shinto praised. Indeed, the Lord of Time and Space also nodded. 100,000 pieces of peak treasure, 100 strongest treasure, and whether it is the peak treasure or the strongest treasure, there are all types of it. The number is so much. If these treasures are taken out, they can definitely set off huge waves in this star field, and countless masters are expected to go crazy for this. I knew you could get so many strongest treasures after you stepped on the Tianfeng Peak. Before, a few of us didn't have to fight for the strongest treasure of the strongest treasure. The Confederate master sneered. Haha. Jian Wushuang also smiled. By the way, Tianho Xiaoyu, how do you plan to distribute these precious treasures? Xian Xindao looked over. If it's assigned, I've thought about it on the way back. Chapter 3801. These treasures were brought by me from the Red Cloud Realm. Now apart from us no one knows. I will naturally not be stupid enough to make it public, even though those top treasures are my future gods, prepared for the battle with Devil Star. Then I will definitely give these treasures to the masters of the many rules participating in the battle to enhance their strength. But after all, the war has not yet begun, and naturally there is no need to distribute it. So, in addition to the four of you, each of you selected some of the strongest precious treasures suitable for your own use. The other precious treasures are now kept in the Xinggong and kept by Xianshen. After the war begins, take it out again. Sword Wushuangdo. Well, the war has not yet begun. We have the existence of this group of treasures, and we really do not need to expose it, so that we can have some more cards in the future when we fight against Devil Star. Even I propose that even our few now for the time being, there is no need to choose too many strongest treasures. It is enough to choose at most one or two strongest treasures to save your life. I agree. I agree. The ancestors nodded in succession. My dear friend, do you want me to keep these treasures? Mysterious Shinto man frowned. Although I am the Lord of the Horoscope and stay in the horoscope all year round, although I will not encounter any danger, I always think that this batch of treasures is yours. It's good to be by your side. After all, your strength is there. In this star field, no one cares about you. Naturally, no one can the treasure from you. Yes, Jian Tianho, this batch of precious treasures, you still have a better way to keep it yourself. The main reason why I want Xian Shun to keep these treasures is another thing. Jian Wushuang said. Oh, what's the matter? All four masters came over. It's true. I got a good chance in the second day of the Red Cloud world. Although my strength has improved a lot, now my strength has reached a bottleneck. I want to make a significant increase and rely on blindness. Enlightenment will definitely not work. I must go through life and death experience. So I have decided to go to the depths of the three battlefields. The depths of the three battlefields are full of crises, and I can't ensure safety. So it is more appropriate for these treasures to remain in the Star Palace. Jian Wushuangdo. Is that so? All four masters nodded. They are all masters, and they are also top performers in this star field. They also understand that a practitioner is stuck in the bottleneck, but it is very difficult to break through. The power of life and death is undoubtedly the easiest way to break through the bottleneck. At this time, Jian Wushuang chose to go to some dangerous places, and they could understand. Since this is the case, I will keep these batches of precious treasures first. Xian Shinto nodded, and then asked again. Yes, Xiaoyu, there are many dangerous places in the depths of the 3 major battlefields. I do indeed know where are you going? I've thought about it before, and go to the dark domain. Jian Wushuang said. What? The 4 masters were all taken aback. Jiantianhe, are you going to the darkened demon realm? The exalted lord of the sky exclaimed. His expression became extremely dignified. Heavenly friend, don't be reckless. The mysterious Shinto man even said. Dark demon realm. That's one of the most dangerous Jedi in the depths of Demon Smoke Valley. Regarding the degree of danger, even compared with life and death, it can't be worse. How much? Even the top masters are extremely jealous of the dim demon realm, and dare not dare to break out. Although you are as good as the top masters, it is still too dangerous to go there. Yes, the Lord of Time and Space also Zheng Jianjian head. Although the darkened realm is a known area, there is actually any danger in it. Only a few people in this starfield know. At least my star palace is against the darkened realm. Without knowing it, but we know very well that without the power of the top dominator, entering the darkened realm will undoubtedly die. Even if it is a top master, once it enters the dim demon realm, the possibility of falling is also very great. From a few epochs to the present, there are a total of 18 top masters who have entered the dim demon realm. Only 3 of them came out alive, and the other 15 died in the darkened demon realm. This concept of life is less than 20%. It is too low. Jian Wushuang said that he would go to the darkened demon realm, and the 4 masters objected. Of course, it is normal for them to object. For the many practitioners in this starfield, the dim demon domain is located in the depths of the magic smoke valley. In a few epochs, a total of 18 top masters entered the darkened realm, but only 3 of them came out alive. This terrible death probability is enough to be daunting. And even if the 3 top masters who fortunately walked out of the dim demon realm, after they came out, they were reluctant to mention anything in the dim demon realm, and strictly prohibited their strongmen from entering the dim demon realm. Obviously they were in the dim demon realm, was frightened. In such a terrible place, even the top masters are terrified. Of course, they are worried that if Jian Wushuang enters the darkened realm, he will encounter unexpected events. For people I have decided. Jian Wushuang looked around the 4 masters with a smile. Maybe the dim demon realm is really dangerous. Even if the top masters have less than 20% chance of living, it is a 9-death life. But what I need now is exactly this. Waiting for danger after all. My life-saving ability has long surpassed most of the top masters. In addition, many of the methods I have are far from extraordinary. The top master can compare. If it is elsewhere, it will be difficult for me to get life and death. From time to time. Even so, you can't just choose this dim demonic field directly. You can choose which kind of threat is a little lower, such as the Corpse Forest, the Emperor Island. These places can have great experience for the top masters. Xian Shinto humane. Jian Wushuang just smiled and said nothing. The Corpse Forest and Emperor's Island are indeed dangerous places. And the top masters enter it, and only have a survival rate of about 50% to 60%. However, after the long-term cultivation of the second heaven of the Red Cloud Realm, Jian Wushuang's current strength has already surpassed the top masters. As far as life-saving ability is concerned, those top masters are far less than him, let alone various precious treasures, and means it. It is because of his strength now and his life-saving ability that is against the sky that he is so confident. Chapter 3802. The 4 mysterious gods still wanted to persuade, but Jian Wushuang obviously didn't listen to it, and the 4 were helpless. Well, since you have already made a decision, then we will not stop you, but you must be careful when you are in the dim demon realm. you must come back alive. Qian Shindao solemnly said. Of course, I don't plan to lose my life there. Jian Wushuang smiled. Tianhou Xiaoyu, when are you going to leave? I'll go back to the early world of the gods first, and it'll start in about 10 years. Jian Wushuangdao. 10 years. The Lord of Time and Space looked. Okay. In the past 10 years, we will try to collect as much information for you as possible about the Darkened Realm. After all, 3 top masters came out alive before. Well, they definitely know some of the crises in the dim demonic domain, although the 3 top masters have already left this astronomical zone long ago. Maybe they have any information left. Well, it would be best if I could get some information about the Darkened Demon Realm. Jian Wushuang nodded. Since this is the case, I'll go back to the beginning of the world. After that, Jian Wushuang turned and left. After Jian Wushuang left, the faces of the 4 masters, Xian Shinto, the Lord of Time and Space, the Lord of Heaven and the Celestial Master, and the Heavenly Ancestor, were not very good looking. I still don't want him to go into the Darkened Demon Realm. After all, it's too dangerous there. Xian Shinto humane. I don't agree, but he insisted. What can we do? Heaven Xiaoyu, he is fighting. The Lord of Time and Space suddenly said. Fight. The Xianshan Taoist, the Ancestor, and the Ancestor all looked over. I was in a very dire situation at the beginning of the Divine Realm. The Lord of the Demon Cloud, and his powerful men, would not be able to kill them for a long time. However, due to the current strength of the Divine Realm in the beginning, I am afraid it will be difficult to stay with them fighting. So the best way to change the situation, and make my Divine Realm turn back to peace, is to break through and become the Master, and then take away the Divine Realm directly. As long as he takes away the prenatal Divine Realm, then we are truly sit back and relax. But obviously, there is still a certain gap between Tianhou Xiaoyu and the level of dominance. Even now, he has encountered a bottleneck. This bottleneck, under normal circumstances, he does not need to worry at all, and he will slowly find a way to break it. But it was because I was too nervous at the beginning that he had to fight. He had to take a risk for the sake of my early days. The voice of the Lord of Time and Space was low. After hearing the words of the Lord of Time and Space, the other 3 masters were also stunned. They all understood immediately. Indeed, if it is not necessary, who would be willing to venture into the Darkened Realm, where the top masters are all dead? Not to mention that Jian Wushuang encountered a bottleneck. Even if it is a bottleneck, you can slowly find opportunities to break through in the future, as long as there is sufficient time. How long has Jian Wushuang practiced, and his time is still so much. But why is he so anxious to venture into the Darkened Demon Realm? Because the situation of the Divine Realm was very critical in the early days, and the many powerful men of Demon Star will kill them in a short time. He couldn't wait and had no choice. I can only take risks. I can only desperately for the beginning of the world. After understanding this, the 4 masters present couldn't help raising a little admiration. Jian Wushuang, in fact, can only be regarded as a junior. After all, Jian Wushuang's master Xian Yi is a friend of the same age as them. But such a junior. At the moment, they all admire them. This admiration is not only in strength, but also in conduct and responsibility. The responsibilities of Jian Wushuang. The burden on his shoulders is indeed too heavy, and the life and death of the whole world in the beginning of the year were all on him. Under such pressure, Jian Wushuang did not shrink back at all, but did his best to find life for the early gods. So many treasures from the Red Cloud Realm were prepared for the practitioners in the early Divine Realm. He is now going to the Darkened Demon Realm, also in order to give greater opportunities to the early gods. I wonder if the impression of Jian Wushuang in the hearts of their 4 masters has become extremely tall. Perhaps Jian Wushuang is still very young now, but he is definitely a great tree in the early world of God. Too early world. After Jian Wushuang returned, he first met his parents and his relatives to learn about the situation of the practitioners from the ancient chaos world in the early world of the gods, and then he went directly into his secret world, which is the ancient chaos world. Under that huge ancient battlefield, a towering stone monument still stood there silently. Flame, flame. You were the master of chaos at the ultimate level before. and you have traveled to the depths of the universe. You have good knowledge. You can see what kind of precious stone is this stone in front of me? Jian Wushuang asked. Although the spirit body of the magic flame stays inside the blood-colored gourd, he can still see the external affairs. This is Zhenshinbai? Demon Flame's voice was clearly shocked. Do you know? Jian Wushuang's eyes brightened. Of course I know, this is the town monument. Even in the vast universe it has great fame. Moyan said. There is great fame in the vast universe. Jian Wushuang's eyes lighted up and his heart became excited. Is this town's Tianbei the strongest or the most precious rule? This is what Jian Wushuang cares about. Although he guessed that the Zhentian monument should be the rule of treasure, he couldn't be sure. Well, Moyan groaned for a moment then said, Zhenshinbai is indeed a rule of treasure, but it is a special rule of treasure. It's special. Jian Wushuang looked. What a special law. Master, since you have a town monument, you should know that there is not only one town monument, right? Moyan asked. I know that. Jian Wushuang nodded. I heard the mysterious said that there are 9 town monuments. Before that, in the Quicksand Demon domain, 3 town monuments were born at the same time. The one in front of me is one of the 3 town monuments previously born in Quicksand Demon realm. Jiuzun. Mo Yin smiled. The information that the owner received is not comprehensive. In fact, this town's Tianbei is not just Jiuzun, but a lot. A lot? What do you mean? Jian Wushuang frowned. Things are rare and precious. The Jiuzhuan town monument has originally made the town monument less valuable, but now Magic Flame tells him that there are many town monuments. Chapter 3803. It has something to do with the origin of Zhentianbei. The Magic Flame began to narrate. First of all, this town monument is indeed a rule of treasure, and it is also a rule of repression. But if you talk about power, it is weaker than the normal law of repression. But in the vast universe, the value of a town monument is definitely not lower than the rule of general repression, or even a lot higher. The reason for this is because Zhentianbei involves a powerful legal array. French array? Jian Wushuang frowned. Yes. It was a magic circle created by a supreme strongman who reached the top level. The supreme strongman is not only outrageous in his own strength. The most important thing is that he is also very accomplished in the game of confrontation. In the vast universe, among the practitioners of countless arrays, he can definitely rank in the top 10. The legal array created by such a superpower is naturally outrageous. But although this legal array is strong, it requires a specific rule of treasure to be able to be used as a base. And since it is a specific rule of treasure, it is naturally unusual. The rule of treasure is different, so this supreme has spent a lot of waiting time, and has refined an extremely special rule of treasure, which is this town monument. Zhentianbei is the only rule that can give full play to the power of the magic circle. At that time, the supreme refining a total of 108 town monuments, using this 108 town monuments as Jinji, using that method, can exert the strongest power of that method. And the Supreme has also used this method to become the overlord of the universe. And he is invincible in the Supreme. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang couldn't help but be shocked. Cosmic Overlord, invincible level in the Supreme? Lingyun Supreme is also a cosmic hegemon, and is also known as invincible among the Supreme, like the Master of the Red Cloud World, the ancestor of the Red Cloud, although the top in Supreme, is far worse than the Supreme Invincible Universe Overlord. Of course, the universe is vast. Even if it is an invincible level of Universe Overlord, there is also the possibility of falling. The Supreme who created the magic circle eventually fell, but although he died, his lost circle in those towns Tianbei is here to stay, and the descendants are good at the legal array. They also exposed the legal array he created, and then transformed the 4 levels of this legal array. On the first level, only 3 town monuments can be used. The second level requires 9 town monuments. The third level requires a full 36 town monuments. As for the final 4th level, the 108 town monuments need to be assembled, which is the strongest power of the French front. And the 108 town monuments have long been scattered throughout the universe, And later some strong men have obtained the legal array, so it cost a lot of money. Please use the town monument as a prototype to refine it. More town monuments, so I will say that there are many town monuments, but the exact number is unknown. Is that so? Sword unparalleled. It turns out that this town's Tianbei is the base of a powerful law formation. No wonder it is so many and extremely precious. Master, you got the message that there are 9 town monuments in the first place. Maybe it is the town monuments you got. It was a strong man who gathered 9 town monuments. The strong man himself, I made up the Jizuan town monument. So the message you got is like this, said Mo Yen again. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. According to the demon flame, the law circle created by the Supreme has been passed down in the universe. It is estimated that many people in the universe have obtained the law circle, even if it is not the complete 4-layer law circle, but it is still possible to get the first and second layers. And those powerful people in the universe, after getting the magic circle, will naturally try their best to collect the town monuments. Some people collect 3 statues, and some people collect 9 statues. It is normal to exert different powers of the magic circle. Magic flame. Although this town Tianbei is mainly used for that law formation, but the town Tianbei itself is a rule of treasure. Even if there is only one, there should be no weak power? Jian Wushuang asked. Of course. Moyan nodded. Single respect for the town monument. The power is not as good as the general repression treasure, but it is also a rule of treasure, and it is still repressive, and the power is naturally good. According to my knowledge, if a single town monument is used as an attack, pure material attacks can barely approach the law of the general attack type arcana. As for the suppression effect, of course, it is far more powerful than the ordinary universe arcana. Upon hearing this, Jian Wushuang's eyes brightened. He was also worried that if he only got a town monument, even if he could trend, he would not be able to enhance his combat power too much. It seemed that he still thought too much. Like his master, at first it was only the primary master's combat power, but after he mastered the Zhen Tianbei, his combat power increased to match the top masters. This town's Tianbei significantly enhanced his combat power. I have made great progress in the Red Cloud realm, and I have a much better sense of the laws of the universe than before. I do know who I am now, but I'm far from fully understanding the first secret pattern of Xintian Monument. Sword Wushuang muttered. The Xintian Monument is full of triple secret lines. As long as the first secret line is fully understood, it should be able to barely drive it. Jian Wushuang had enlightened under this town monument for 5,000 years before, but he barely realized the first secret pattern by 20 to 30%. Now returning from the Red Cloud realm, there should be more mysterious lines that can be understood by reason. Sure enough, with Jian Wushuang's realization, he found that many of the first secret lines were already very familiar to him. After a long time, Jian Wushuang reopened his eyes. 50%, more than 10,000 years of enlightenment in the Red Cloud realm. Let me understand 50% of the first secret pattern of this town's monument. But why do I feel the remaining 50% far much harder than before? Jian Wushuang frowned. Master, if you want to master this town monument now, I'm afraid it will be difficult. The flame of magic flame sounded again. Why? Jian Wushuang asked. Master, if it's a general rule of treasure, you can drive it right now. Although it's difficult to fully utilize the power of the rule of treasure, but at least it can be used. But the town monument is different. This town monument, the hidden mystery, is extremely special. Chapter 3804. Simple and practical. You need to understand a trace of the law of the universe? Jian Wushuang frowned. He couldn't help but feel that the threshold for using the town sky monument was really too high. Previously, he thought that he only needed to understand the first secret pattern in the town monument. And this first secret pattern was extremely difficult. But with his own understanding, he only needed sufficient time, or I can understand it. But it seems that it is not so simple. Wrong. The sword has no double-sided color suddenly changed. At the beginning, the master had mastered the Jintian tablet and his strength sword. From the primary master, he jumped to the level that rivals the top master. Did the master realize the glory of the universe? There was a hint of horror in Jian Wu's eyes. Yes, Master Tianzhuang wizard. Even special mysterious magical powers, such as the heaven-cuting spell, can be created. And it has taken me a long time, and a long time to pay for it. And the ancient chaotic world has evolved into the heavenly cycle, is a great means of shaking the world. On strength, perhaps now I have surpassed the master of the peak period. But if we talk about talents, master is afraid to be far stronger than me. In this star domain, we must say that others understand at the level of rule master. With a trace of the law of the universe, I am unbelievable, but if it is a master, it is entirely possible. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. Master Xuanyi has always admired Jian Wushuang's incomparable respect. This kind of admiration is not only Xianyi's personality and charm, but also Xianyi's many masterpieces. Like the perfect level of life, it is possible for 1 billion stars to be born in the vast universe, and they are all bred by the universe itself. But according to his own level of life, it took a long time to directly create a second perfect level of life. There is also the evolution of the ancient chaotic world, which directly transforms the heavens and the heavens, so that the refining of Jian Wushuang will directly lead to the coming of the law of the universe. There is also the technique of beating the sky, which can cooperate with its own level of life and stimulate the innate advantages of the level of life as much as possible. But even this method is extremely shocking. All these methods are shocking, but all come from the hands of his master Xian. It is no surprise that he now understands that a master of the universe has realized a trace of the law of the universe at the master level of the rule, and is able to control the Jintian monument. I see. The reason why the master has increased greatly from the elementary dominance level to the level that rivals the top one. Perhaps Zenshinbai really helped him a lot, but I'm afraid the most important thing is that he realized it. A trace of the law of the universe. Any ruler, as long as he comprehends a trace of the law of the universe, his strength will explode. Although he is only the master of the rules, he can definitely gain a tremendous increase in strength after comprehending a trace of the law of the universe. After understanding this, Jian Wushuang looked at the Jintian monument in front of him, but shook his head and smiled bitterly. Master has left this town monument to me. It should be that I hope to comprehend the secret lines in the town monument. I will gradually grasp and finally realize a trace of the cosmic law. If I did that, I might really understand it. A trace of the law of the universe can take too long. Jian Wushuang sighed softly. He now only realized 50% of Jintian Bei's first secret pattern, only half. The remaining 50% of the secret lines, however, makes Jian Wushuang feel very difficult. It is much more difficult to realize than the previous 50%. He estimates that if he has been staying in this town to understand the secret lines, at least it will take 40,000 to 50,000 years to hopefully fully realize this first secret pattern. 40 to 50,000 years? It's been too long for Jian Wushuang. He can't wait too, so he can only seek other ways, and can only go on constant adventure, like the darkened demon realm. Even if it was full of crisis and danger, he must go. It seems that the secret lines in this town's sky monument have to wait until I come out of the dim demon realm, and then go to enlighten. Jian Wushuang sighed lightly, and he did not leave, but sat in the open space beside him. Then, in my mind, a lot of information began to emerge. This information is the information of dragon extermination. This time to go to the Red Cloud realm. The sword unparalleled harvest is extremely huge. Not only has he harvested a lot of treasures, but also many opportunities in the Red Cloud realm have greatly enhanced his strength. And at the same time he has obtained an extremely powerful mystery. This mystery technique is Dragon Mystery. However, although he has obtained this mystery, in the Red Cloud realm, he has been busy understanding and improving his strength under the opportunity, and has never spent time to truly cultivate this mystery. By now, he has decided to go into the Darkened Realm. Before he actually enters the Darkened Realm, he must have refined the first volume of Dragon Demystification, so that he can also have an extra whole card. And he is in the Darkened after the Magic Domain. The ability to save lives will be stronger. Dragon's Mystery is a magical burning mystery. This mystery really has a great effect on me. Sword Wuxia sat there and began to cultivate according to the information in the first volume of Dragon Extinction, said to be cultivation. But in fact, the most important thing about this mystery is how to control the divine power more accurately. After all, when the divine power starts to burn, it will burn all the divine power. If you want to stop it, you must have extremely precise control of the divine power. In simple terms, it is the use and control of divine power. In this star field, in fact, there are some simple methods of using and controlling divine power. And some methods can even allow practitioners to control divine power for burning. However, the level of the magical power of the star field in this field is too low. Once you use the magical power to burn, it is almost difficult to stop. Only when the spiritual power of the practitioner is completely exhausted, he will stop by himself under. But the divine power has been completely burned and exhausted. If there is no divine power in the divine body, it will naturally lose its vitality. This practitioner will certainly die. And even if it is really desperate, at the level of practitioners in this star field, it is crazy to burn the divine power. At most, it can only increase its power by a few times. Compared to mysticism, it is totally heaven and earth. This dragon-destroying mystery, www. Until novel. Chapter 3805. In the open space next to the town monument, Jian Wuxia sat there calmly. He didn't exude a slight breath, and there was no trace of divine power flowing on the surface. It looked as if his whole divine power was exhausted or exhausted. In general, but in fact this is just Jian Wuxia's perfect control of divine power, not to let the divine power escape the slightest. In the past 12 years, he has been much stronger than before, when he has practiced dragon demystification, simply in the control of divine power. I don't know how much I can improve my strength with my current strength, and the first volume of Dragon Extermination. Jian Wu's eyes were dazzling with light. Try it. Without hesitation, Jian Wuxia immediately urged Dragon Mystery. Instantly, Jian Wuxia only felt a fiery heat in his body, and the divine power that followed him was like Ganchai encountered a fierce fire, even when it burned wildly. Divine power burned, making Jian Wuxia's expression a bit painful. The burning of this divine power is really painful. Fortunately, my consciousness is arrogant enough so that the impact will not be too great. But the speed at which my divine power is consumed is indeed a bit scary. Jian Wuxia can feel the rapid consumption of divine power in himself. Normally, the magic of mysterious power burns. Even the masters of the 4th and 5th series will talk about the color change. Such a mystery is an absolute whole card for many strong players in the universe. It will never be cast unless it is a life or death crisis. The sword unparalleled is also because of the perfect life. The divine power in the body is as vast as the sea, which is thousands of times that of the ruler of ordinary rules. This speed of divine power can barely bear. But after the burning of my divine power, my power has actually increased enough. Jian Wuxia clenched his hands and felt the terrifying power in his hands. The mad burning of divine power has greatly compressed his divine power, making his divine power explode, which is absolutely 100 times stronger than before. You know, Jian Wuxia's own divine power is comparable to the elementary master. This sudden increase of 100-fold power makes him simply based on basic divine power, comparable to or even more than the top masters. And Sword Wuxia has several kinds of mystic skills. these mystic skills will have a tremendous increase in strength, such as magical power of life, cut heaven. These are very great to enhance the power of divine power. The most important thing is that Jian Wushuang has the willpower given by the law of the universe, but that willpower can be doubled on the basis of Jian Wushuang's original power. Taken together, the power of Jian Wushuang's instantaneous outburst has completely surpassed the level of the first-level master. My basic divine power now is much stronger than the average top master. If my several mysteries are performed at the same time, and the power given by the law of the universe is superimposed, it is estimated that with the strongest explosive power I have now, I should be able to reach the second level and higher level master. Jian Wushuang muttered. He is the master of the second level and higher level. He has never met or played against him. However, he judged according to the gap between the first-level masters. If he fully exerts the mystery of dragon extermination, his power can indeed reach such a level. The power of the second level of the higher level dominates, and my understanding of Kendo has long exceeded that of the second level. It is comparable to that of the third level. In addition to the many treasures I have, Xian Guang Tianyi, Triple Magic Light Mirror, Shanhesh, Huangquan Excalibur Wujing Demon Armor. My current combat power has already reached the peak of this star field. I'm afraid that few of the top powerhouses in the history of this star field can match me. Jian Wushuang's words are by no means self-proclaimed, but indeed. After all, this star field is a remote place in the universe. There are not many dominators here. The dominator at the top level of the first series is almost already the strongest, and a dominator of the second series rarely appears. Like Yu, who has gone through the foothills of the Tianfeng mountain before, it is relatively rare. And in this star field, after those dominators reach the second level, they will hardly stay here for a long time, but will soon choose to leave to travel to other universes in the universe. After all, the second level dominates in this star field. It is absolutely invincible. The so-called master loneliness. If you have spent enough time in this star field, you will choose to leave. That Yu dominates. I'm afraid it won't be long before leaving this star field. Therefore, Jian Wushuang's current combat power is regarded as the top among many powerful people in the history of this star field, which is by no means empty words. In fact, with his current fighting power, he can also prepare to go to other stars in the universe, just because he has too many responsibilities, and the crisis in the early world of God is too great for him to leave. Strength has reached this level. It is really difficult to improve in a short period of time, and it is time to go to the darkened realm. Of course, stay with your father and mother for a while before leaving. Jian Wushuang sighed softly. Even if he started, the dark domain is too dangerous. Although Jian Wushuang is extremely confident in his current strength and life-saving means, he also has no absolute confidence that he can come out alive from the inside. So he must naturally accompany his two lives before leaving, parents and relatives and friends. But because of time constraints, he did not stay too long. Just 3 years later he set off. When he left, he did not bring up the fierce danger with his parents. And he did not want his parents, and many of his relatives and friends, to worry about himself. Star Palace. Heavenly friend, this is the information I have collected for you in the darkened demon domain for more than 10 years. The information here is true but also false. We can't say it clearly. You still have to tell it yourself. Well, in short, the dim demon realm is no better than other places, where there are crises everywhere, and you must be careful when you are alone. Xian Shinto said. I know. Jian Wushuang nodded his head, took the information in the hands of Xian Shinto, gave a brief glance, and slightly nodded. There is something valuable in this information, but there are still many things that can't be determined true and false, and he can only slowly go out on his own, while distinguishing between them. All of you, then I'll go first, and bother you to take care of my loved ones in the early world of God. Jian Wushuangdo. Well, come back earlier. The four gods, the Lord of time and space, the Lord of the heaven and earth, and the heavenly ancestor watched the sword Wushuang far away. They know that Jian Wushuang's trip is to go for the vitality of the Taichu world. End of this chapter. Chapter 3806. One of the three battlefields, Magic Smoke Valley. At the deepest level, the sky and the earth are full of hazy black mists. These black mists are highly toxic. If the ruler of the ordinary stays a little longer in this black mist-filled void, it is likely that his divine power will be completely eroded and evaporated off. This is already the forbidden area of the ruler. Those who dare to come here are generally strong men who can resist the erosion of the black mist. For example, a black bald old man who is roaming in the black mist. This bald old man in black is dominated by Wuyin. In this star field, he can also be regarded as a relatively famous master. Of course, he is just an elementary master, and his strength can only be considered average. The black mist in the deepest part of the Magic Smoke Valley is really horrible. Although I am the master, I can only barely resist the erosion of this mist, and I cannot stay in this black mist for too long. Otherwise, under the erosion of the mist at all times, I may be unable to resist it. But fortunately, although I have only spent less than 100 years in this black mist, it still gives me a peak treasure, which is not a worthwhile trip. Wuyin Master smiled. Peak Universe Arcana, even just the most common attack arcana, is still enough to make him the primary master. In the past 100 years, it has been very good to be able to obtain such a treasure. You have to know that even in the thousands of years before the Red Cloud Realm was opened, all kinds of arcanas were born. Although he was also fighting inside, he only got one peak arcana and a few top arcanas. In the Red Cloud world, although he was born, there are many treasures, but various competitions are also very fierce. Although he is the master, there are a lot of stronger masters in the Red Cloud Realm, but the area covered by the black mist is different, because there are few masters in this area. In the past century he was the master. No one has ever met, and no one can compete with him. Before he noticed the birth of arcana in the black mist, he immediately rushed over, and easily got the peak arcana. Of course, although there are not many people fighting with him in this black mist, the hidden crisis is very huge. If he is inadvertent, he may fall, so he has been careful in the past 100 years. Like now, he finds that he has become more and more strenuous when resisting the black mist. So he already has the intention to leave the black mist area first, wait for some time to recuperate, and then re-enter. The range covered by this black mist is not too big, and the various routes in this range I have kept in mind before. This road to go out only needs to be careful, there should be no danger. Wuyin the master murmured, and he had slowly moved away from the black mist. He was not fast along the way, and did not encounter any danger. However, just as he passed by a dark red forest, his heart tightened instantly. It is a darkened demon realm. Legend has it that even the top dominated the dark dodged realm that was dead for a lifetime, and the top dominated the following, and it is undoubtedly necessary to enter it. This dim demon realm is one of the most dangerous Jedi in Devil's Smoke Valley. If you accidentally break into it with my strength, I don't know how to die. I have to be careful, but don't be careful break in. Knowing that the dark red dense forest is where the dim dark realm is, the Wuyin master who has a certain understanding of the dark realm is more cautious when he plunders, and dare not approach the dark red dense forest at all. Suddenly, Wuyin's look suddenly changed. He had noticed a figure in the void not far ahead. The figure was covered by the gray mist. Although he could not see the appearance, there was no doubt that he dared to come to the deepest part of the Magic Smoke Valley, and wander into the black mist-diffused range, and it must be the true strong man. However, as the figure approached, the moment his soul's power could detect the other's breath, he froze. This breath is just the master of the rules? Wuyin's master was extremely surprised, but as the appearance of the other party gradually appeared in his sight, the Wuyin master was relieved. The Lord of the Blood Sword, it turned out to be him. Wuyin Lord nodded secretly. In this star field, among the many rulers, there are only a few rulers who dare to come and roam in this black mist range, and Jian Wushuang is undoubtedly one of them. It is said that when the Lord of the Blood Sword was in the Red Cloud Realm, he fought with the evil Lord. Even the evil lord confessed that he had the top dominating power. Although he was only the ruler, but on strength much better than me. Wuyin dominated, secretly booing. Although he knows that Jian Wushuang is very powerful, he is not afraid. After all, there is no resentment between him and Jian Wushuang. And there is no holiday with Xingong. With Jian Wushuang's current strength and status, it should not be shot against him for no reason. Sure enough, the sword unparalleled arrived, and after seeing Wuyin dominated, he just smiled. Wuyin dominated, are you here? Yes, I heard the name of the Lord of the Blood Sword. I had never seen it before. I didn't expect to see it in the black mist now. The master of Wuyin smiled, but with a touch of compliment. The Lord of the Blood Sword, did you come to this black mist to find opportunities? Wuyin Lord asked casually. That's right. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. Then you have to be careful. This black mist is full of unknown dangers. The black mist that surrounds it all the time is just one of them. There are many crises lurking. In addition, this black mist, there is also a special place among them. The dim demon realm where the dark red forest is located. But the dim demon realm is an amazing place. And you should not approach the Lord of the Blood Sword easily. Oh, Jian Wushuang frowned. Wuyin is master, thank you. After saying that, Jian Wushuang has already swept away towards that dark red forest. You're welcome. The Lord Wuyin smiled and wanted to continue talking to Jian Wushuang. But he had already seen Jian Wushuang leaving, and the direction in which Jian Wushuang moved forward was the dark red forest. The Lord of the Blood Sword, there is the dark demon realm. Wuyin Lord shouted. I know. Jian Wushuang stepped. But I'm going there. Having said that, the sword has no double heads and does not return, so it plunges directly into the dark red forest. Chapter 3807. Did he break into the darkened realm? The master of Wuyin stared with wide eyes and a look of astonishment. He had just reminded Jian Wushuang to ask him to stay away from the dark red forest. But blinking, Jian Wushuang broke into it directly. He should have known where the darkened realm was, and he should also know the danger contained in the darkened realm, but he still broke in. The Lord of the Blood Sword, so brave. Lord Wuyin shook his head and sighed. The dim demon domain is absolutely taboo for ordinary masters, and no one dares to break into it. Like the master of Wuyin, he just passed by around the dim dark realm, and was extremely cautious, for fear he would walk in accidentally. The sword unparalleled, knowing the treacherous dark domain, but dare to break in directly, this courage is extraordinary. No, the Lord of the Blood Swords has entered the darkened demon realm. I want to let my friends know immediately about this news. The Lord of Wuyin immediately took out a number of orders to send a message. Although this Wuyin dominates as a lone strong man, there is no power behind him, but he still has some friends who dominate the hierarchy. He informed his friends of the news that Jian Wushuang broke into the darkened demon realm, and his friends continued to spread. Just like this 100, and not long after, many of the top powerhouses in this star field almost knew this. The Lord of the Blood Swords even went to the dark demon realm? It's really bold. Beihai Palace, the Tianpeng who reached the top level, was amazed at the news. Even in the dim demon realm, he was so scared that he dare not break into it. But sword unparalleled but broke in. When he came to me under the guidance of mysterious God, he was extremely immature. At that time, it was only by some design methods that he deceived the Huangquan Excalibur from my hands. But he did not expect it to pass. For more than 20,000 years, he has been able to match the top masters. And he dared to break into the darkened demon realm that I dare not even break into. Tianpeng cannot help but sigh. After the Yangtze River pushed forward, although Jian Wushuang is extremely young in his eyes, even just a junior, but judging from the strength he has shown, he has even paid attention to it. Now Jian Wushuang went into the darkened demon realm. Such actions made him extremely shocked. The darkened demon realm is extremely dangerous. Even the top master enters it. It is a 9-death life. It would be good if the blood sword master died inside. But if he finally came out of the dark demon realm, it would be really terrible. I'm afraid I can't afford him at Beihai Palace. The dim blood-colored magic palace. Yin Yu dominated the seat on the throne at the top, holding a glass of blood-colored wine in his hand, gently swaying. Dark Demon Realm. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, when my strength was at the bottleneck and could hardly be improved, I also considered whether to go to the darkened demon realm. I hesitated for thousands of years without really making up my mind. It wasn't until I was lucky enough to get that chance that my strength broke through. That's when I gave up the idea of going to the darkened realm. Even the old guy who has lived for hundreds of millions of years and has not known how many winds and rains, he must consider hesitating for so long before entering the darkened demon realm, and still cannot make a decision. But the Lord of the Blood Sword is just a rule lord, as short as the years of cultivation, so young, so decisive to go to the darkened realm? Ji Yu dominated secretly admired. In the bottom of his heart, he also compares himself with Jian Wushuang, and even changes his position to think that if he is Jian Wushuang, he is so young, and he is only the master of the rules, but has the fighting power of the top masters, with such terrible talents and potential, then he will never take such a risk to venture into the darkened realm. Amazing little guy. I can't keep up with him because of the boldness and courage. I hope he can come out alive from the darkened realm, and preferably within this 1,000 years. Ji Yu dominated with a slight smile. The millennium. Is the millennium? Because the Master Yu has made a decision. After the millennium, he will leave this star field and go to those wider star fields. After all, although he still only incorporates the 5 rules, he is still the master of the first rank. But if he can pass the test of the foot of the Tianfeng mountain, his combat power must have reached the extreme of the master of the second rank. The combat power in this star domain has long been invincible, not counting sword and warriors. Now that it is invincible, and the Red Cloud Realm has been opened not long ago, it will take hundreds of millions of years to open the next time, and he will naturally not wait any longer. Although there are still a lot of opportunities in the 3 major battlefields, he did not intend to continue. He will travel to more vast places to meet more powerful people. This is not just him. In this star field, as long as it has the second-level combat power, it will choose to leave after there is nothing to worry about in this star field. Jian Wushuang entered the darkened realm, and this news really caused a great shock in this starry realm. No one had thought that it was just the master level of the rules, the Bloodsword Master, who possessed incredible talent and potential, and at this time, he would go to the darkened demon lands. Indeed, in the eyes of many people, Jian Wushuang's name is worked to death. After all, even in the darkened domain, even the top master broke into it. It was a life of 9 deaths. Although Jian Wushuang possessed the power of the top master, he was only a rule master. A ruler broke into it, and most of the strongest in this star field thought that Jian Wushuang could come out alive. Therefore, this star field is already circulating. Jian Wushuang, the brightest genius in history, is about to fall. The dark red forest was so cold that even the air was filled with a cold chill. Jian Wushuang walked alone in the void above this dark red forest, according to the information collected by Xianshan. There are 2 known dangers in this dim demon realm. The first type is the mist that diffuses into every corner of the dim demon realm. Sword Warrior surrounds the surrounding void, and this void is filled with a lot of pale red mist visible to the naked eye. These light red mists are just like the black mist in the area covered by the black mist outside the dim demon realm. The black mist contains poisonous substances, which can easily kill the ruler of the rule. Even the primary master, although it can barely resist the erosion of the mist, has to choose to leave the cultivation for a long time. Chapter 3808. Like the master of Wuyin, he was so long in the black mist that he was about to leave. And the black mist is completely incomparable with this red mist in the darkened demon realm. It is also a highly toxic mist. The red mist in the dim magic domain, even the thinnest light red mist, has an erosion effect that is dozens of times that of the external black mist. Such a highly toxic, ordinary primary master can't carry it at all. And even the higher master must have a strong body protection treasure to be able to operate normally in the darkened realm. Moreover, this is only a light red mist. In this dim demon realm, there are deep red mists and pure mists. These two kinds of mists are not regularly scattered in the dim demon domain, and some are hidden in the light red mist. For example, it looks like there is a pale red mist in front of the naked eye, but when you pass through it, you may encounter deep red, or even mist on the way. The crimson mist and mist were more terrifying than the light red mist. In particular, the mist, according to the information collected by the mysterious Shinto people, said that the mist, even if the top master is caught in it, the power will be completely eroded and evaporated without taking a few breaths. Once there was a top master who was lucky enough to walk out of the dim demon realm and accidentally fell into a mist. Within 3 breaths, his divine power was eroded by 70%. Fortunately, the mist range was not too big. He escaped in time. Otherwise, the top master would certainly not survive. If I speak of the divine body alone, I've cultivated the highest priority of the supreme immortal mystic body. The divine body is comparable to the elementary arcana. These deities are far more arrogant than the top-level masters. The armor body has more divine power than the vastness of the master. The pale red mist alone will not affect me at all, but if it falls into the crimson mist range, I must be careful. As for the mist, even the top masters can't support a few breaths. I may take longer than the average top masters, but in the end it must be irresistible. Jian Wushuang muttered softly. Jian Wushuang knows the danger of this dim demon realm, and naturally dare not be arrogant. He would naturally be extra careful about the mist of one of the 2 major dangers known in this dim demon realm. As for the second known danger of the darkened realm, there are some dark red monsters scattered in the darkened realm. The dark red monster was spoken by the top master, who came out of the dim demon realm. No one knows the name of the dark red monster. However, the dark red monster is extremely scary and extremely hateful to outsiders. Once in the dark domain, once the dark red monster is encountered and found by the other party, the dark red monster will directly attack the crazy monster. Oath to be killed. The 3 top masters who came out of the dim demon realm at the beginning, 2 of them have left information about the dim demon realm, and all mentioned that the dark red monsters, the weakest, have high masters, even close to the top dominant combat power, and slightly stronger. That is the top dominating level. In addition, the most important thing is that the dark red monsters in the dim demon domain are not just 1 head and 2 heads, but many. No one knows the specific number, but one of the top masters who came out alive said that he encountered 8 dark red monsters at one time. 6 of them were of average strength, but 2 were extremely powerful. Horrible. All have top protection and combat power. 8 dark red monsters shot at the same time. This top master only has the role of escaping. Dark red monsters live in this dim demon domain all year round. Although their strength is extremely terrible, their wisdom seems very low. Devil Flames, you have been so far in the universe for so many years, you know what this dark red monster is? Jian Wushuang asked Road. Master, the universe is too huge, it is too vast, and there are hundreds of millions of different kinds of life and various ethnic groups. Although I have spent a long time in the universe, I also went to the universe to deepen it. I have seen it everywhere, but the various life groups in the universe, what I know and can recognize, I am afraid that it is less than 10%, and the dark red monster with low wisdom mentioned by the owner is not really I've seen it, I can't recognize it. Perhaps I won't recognize it until I actually see a dark red monster, Moyan said. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly, not surprised. The universe is huge, and there are definitely many kinds of life groups. It is quite normal that the magic flame has never seen such a dark red monster, and cannot directly recognize it. The information gathered by Mysterious God mentions the 2 known crises in the dim demon realm, but we know too little about the dim demon realm in this star domain. There may be other dangers in this dim realm, it's just that I don't know yet. But the 2 kinds of dangers now known are enough for me to treat them with dignity. Jian Wushuang squinted his eyes slightly. I am wandering in this dim demon realm. I really have to be careful and be careful. After all, there is only one life. If I lose my life here, the world is too early. My parents, my family and friends are all done. And Schwanger, her soul is still asleep, and I haven't really reunited with her yet. I can't just die like that. Taking a deep breath, Jian Wushuang began to investigate the surrounding environment carefully. The power of his soul has already swept out. However, the limits of his soul's power in this dim demon domain are extremely great. Like in the Red Cloud realm, the power of the soul is also limited, but no matter how he can find out the range of 100,000 miles around. But now in this dim demon domain, what he can detect is only a few thousand miles away. Yes, just thousands of miles. For an ordinary master, thousands of miles are instantly crossed. There is only such a narrow range of soul perception, which also limits his movements in the dim demon realm. Although I have the strongest terrestrial magic triple magic light mirror, one of the triple magic light mirrors has a powerful impact on the realm, which can instantly cover the realm of the surrounding area within 1,000,000 miles. While covering the power of the soul on a heavy magic light, then you can detect movements within 1,000,000 miles. But after all, I just arrived in the dim magic domain, and am very new to everything here. If I rushed to use the triple magic light mirror, and the area hit 1,000,000 miles away, that movement would be too great. Who knows what will cause it? Sword Musa groaned. Emperor Jiotian dear, click in and give a good comment. Chapter 3809. The triple magic light mirror is too dynamic, and Jian Wushuang will not easily cast it. Therefore, he can only rely on the soul perception range of thousands of miles, carefully rushing in this dim demon realm. After half an hour. Okay. Suddenly Jian stopped in the void. His gaze was looking at a direction from the periphery, and he could feel that beyond 3,000 miles in this direction, that extremely violent and fierce atmosphere. Dark red monster, have you finally found one? The soul power of Jian Wushuang has completely locked the fierce breath, and at the same time he can see the true appearance of the dark red monster. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, his body is dark red, but his body is relatively thin. This dark red monster also has 2 eyes on its face, 1 nose and 1 mouth, but all twisted together. It looks extremely embarrassing. The arm is extremely long, just like a sword, but it also faintly exudes a dark red cold luster, which is obviously very sharp. Both hands are like swords. Jian Wushuang frowned. He had discovered the existence of the dark red monster, but the latter did not seem to find him. Magic Flame, can you deny that this monster is here? Jian Wushuang asked. I don't recognize it. Moyan shook his head. This monster gives me a very strange feeling. I'm sure I have never seen such a monster. But if you can't recognize it from the outside, you can only fight with it, and see what is special about this monster, and what means it has. Jian Wushuangdo. Master, are you going to fight this monster? Demon Flame was surprised. Of course, the 2 major dangers known in this dim demon realm are the surrounding red fog, and this dark red monster. As long as I am careful with the red fog, it can't pose any threat to me, but this dark red monster is different. After a pause, Jian Wushuang continued. In the dark domain, there are a lot of dark red monsters. I just happened to meet one, but I really took the opportunity to double up with this dark red monster. The bottom of it is so that in the next time, I am roaming in the darkened demon realm. Even if I encounter more dark red monsters at one time, at least I can have a bottom in my heart. Instead of knowing nothing, I do know if I should flee or war. Mo Yin nodded. Indeed, just a dark red monster does not pose any threat to Jian Wushuang. However, playing with this dark red monster, I have a general understanding of this monster. It is a good opportunity. Magic Flame, you'll have to take a closer look later, and try to identify the monster. Jian Wushuangdo. I try my best. Demon Flame Zheng focused his head. With no movement of the sword was swept away towards the position of the dark red monster. 3,000 miles away, at the speed of Jian Wushuang, in a blink of an eye. But Jian Wushuang did not step forward immediately, but slowly approached. This dark red monster has very low intelligence. It is not only unable to perform soul exploration like a human cultivator, but also seems to be weak in perception. Before I was 3,000 miles away, It was understandable. But I'm only 200 miles away from it. And it hasn't discovered my existence yet? Jian Wushuang was surprised. He didn't use any mysterious means to hide his breath or body shape. He just approached the other side normally. If you were a human cultivator, you would have already noticed that even some strange beasts and fierce beasts, who are slightly more sensitive, can already sense the coming of the crisis. But now this dark red monster stared at Jian Wushuang, has not changed his reaction at all. Obviously, it hasn't found the arrival of the sword unparalleled. Jian Wushuang continued to approach. 180 miles, 150 miles, until the sword Wushuang was only 100 miles away from this dark red monster. Roar! With a growl, the dark red monster finally had a gap. Its body stood up, and the cold dark golden eye pupil looked directly in the direction where Jian Wushuang was. Not until now. Jian Wushuang grinned, but the speed was skyrocketing. I saw a weird streamer passing through the void in an instant, and the Bailey range directly crossed. The sword Wushuang already appeared in front of the dark red monster, and at the same time the Huangquan Excalibur appeared in his hands. The elephant, Jian Wushuang slashed out with the arrogant sword. This sword light with endless violent breath, cut through the void, and made those light red mists around the chaos. The speed of Jian Wushuang is too fast. Although the dark red monster found the existence of Jian Wushuang, it still has to be slow to respond. Seeing the outrageous sword light cut, the dark red monster raised its two arms at the same time. These two sword-like arms crossed together and stood in front of him. Clang! With a crisp sound, the dark red monster's body sank fiercely, and then the whole person was split and flew out, eventually hitting a huge rock, shattering the huge rock, and its body stopped. Huh! Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. My sword, although I didn't do my best, I can now have a very high understanding of the origin of Kendo. This sword's power has definitely reached the top dominating level. But it can be split here dark red monster's arm, but can only leave a white mark on the monster's arm? The monster's two arms are so hard. Sword Wushuang is the sword skill of Huangquan Excalibur. The strongest magic weapon is cast, and the power of performing swordsmanship is the top dominating level. If this level of swordsmanship is replaced by a human practitioner, even if it is a higher master, with a peak to the treasure armor, it is estimated that had to be hit hard. But this dark red monster does not have any arcana warframe. It relies solely on its two arms to resist that sword power as much as possible, and the two arms are not sword the light cuts off directly, but just leaves a white mark. This kind of arm, I am afraid that the hardness is higher than the ordinary elementary universe treasure. It is estimated that it can be comparable to the advanced universe treasure. I became the most important of the supreme immortal mystery, and the body is comparable to the elementary universe treasure. The two arms of this dark red monster are even stronger than my body. Jian Wushuang marveled. But I do know, it only two arms are as hard as the high cosmic treasure. Or is it that the entire body is so overbearing? Swords flickered in the eyes of Jian Wu. Although the dark red monster was split and flew out, it looked extremely embarrassed, but it was actually not damaged in any way. After it stood firmly in shape, the dark golden eye pupil was locked on Jian Wushuang's body. The horrible fierce breath suddenly rose up. Chapter 38:10. Outside. Outside. Those dead. Intermittent roars emanated from the dark red monster's mouth. Although the sound was not very clear, Jian Wushuang still heard it clearly. This dark red monster, can you speak? Jian Wushuang frowned. The main reason why he took the initiative to find this dark red monster is to want to know more about this dark red monster. As he has now learned, this dark red monster has extremely rigid two arms, which is comparable to the high cosmic treasure. In addition, this dark red monster will also speak simply. Boom! The dark red monster turned into a red streamer and burst into force. Jian Wushuang only felt a strong sigh of oppression coming towards him. This suffocation is really strong. Jian Wushuang sighed softly. The dark red monster stretched out with two arms, just like the two sharp swords. Ha! Ha! With the two arms of the dark red monster thrown away, The air was immediately cut away, and the two cold-blooded knives of the forest were already cut off. These two knife lights, not only the mighty power is extremely arrogant, but also contains a strong meaning of destruction. Even the knife light itself is quite mysterious. Blade. This dark red monster is obviously very low in intelligence, but it also uses a sword, and this sword is quite subtle. Jian Wushuang was shocked. However, although the sword method of the dark red monster is still subtle, it is nothing at all before the sword has no double sides. The sword has a flicker of the figure and a flash, and it is easily worn through the gap between the two sword lights. However, his figure has approached the dark red monster. I saw Jian Wushuang sending Huang Quan's Excalibur in front of him. There was a flower bud in full bloom, and the chest of the dark red monster exploded directly, and a bowl-sized blood hole appeared. The white bones in the body can be clearly seen along the blood hole. Fortunately, the monster's two arms are very hard, but the rest of the body has not reached that level. Jian Wushuang said lightly, "He just had this sword, and did not enhance it to power," which is equivalent to the sword that had been split on the arm of the dark red monster before. But the previous sword just left a white mark on the arm of the dark red monster. But now the sword stabbed on the chest of the dark red monster, but it broke the defense of the body of the dark red monster and hurt it. Obviously, this dark red monster is not as hard as the whole universe with the arm as high as the universe. The sword is unparalleled, and other parts of the body of this dark red monster are barely comparable to the elementary universe. But this monster's strength is indeed very strong, and it is very close to the top dominator. In addition, its knife method is still not intolerable. The combat power is indeed very strong among the high masters, and it may be a single head and two ends nothing. But if there are 6 or 7 heads together, it can indeed pose a threat to the average top master. Jian Wushuang secretly said. Jian Wushuang has been studying this dark red monster, but the dark red monster had already been angry. Especially Jian Wushuang's sword just opened its chest, which made his anger soar to the extreme. The dark red monster has very low wisdom. It does not know how to distinguish the strength of its opponents, or even the jungle rule of weak meat and strong food. Born in this dim demon realm, the dark red monster only knows one thing. As long as it is an outsider, then it must be killed regardless of what it is. Kill, kill. With a low roar, the dark red monster rushed again. Jian Wushuang also shot to entangle with him, but he has found that the blood hole in the chest of this dark red monster has been completely repaired without any trace left. The strength of this dark red monster is still at its peak. Is it immortal? No, this monster doesn't have any divine power at all. The undead ghosts at the peak. Although most Supremes are helpless, even the top-level Supremes cannot be killed. But there are countless powerful people in the vast universe. At the top, the invincible cosmic hegemon in the Supreme can still kill the undead ghost. The sword is unparalleled. Undead Wraith. Maybe its life-saving ability is terrible. It is the crown of the universe, but it is not really invincible to the world. After all, even the master of the Red Cloud Realm, the ancestor of the Red Cloud Realm, who has reached the top level can be killed. Even the Ling Yin star created by Ling Yin Supreme, and other Supreme invincible level universe overlords will fall. Think about the vastness of the universe with terrible. Immortal Wraith has strong life-saving ability, but it is not really invincible. Besides that, there is a second reason. The magic flame continued. The number of undead ghosts in the universe has always been only 99. This is eternal, even for some reasons. A dead undead is dead, and the universe immediately breeds a new undead demon. That is, the undead demon will never be extinct. As long as the cycle of the universe is still there, the immortal demon will always exist. And it has always been only 99, never exceeding, nor less than 99. Jian Wushuang heard it, and was shocked inside. He finally understood how terrible this group was, and why this group was called immortal. It really is undead. Not only is life-saving ability against the sky, the most important thing is the special status of this group in the universe. Even if one is killed, the universe will immediately give birth to one. Such a group is indeed eternal, and no one in the universe can destroy this group. Of course, the universe is fair. Although the immortal ghosts are tyrannical and immortal, this group also has some disadvantages. Moyen continued. First of all, their growth period is too long. It is known that an undead ghost must go through hundreds of chaotic periods from birth to the peak. Hundreds of chaos times? Jian Wushuang stunned. A tertiary astral world, from incubation to destruction, is a period of chaos. Hundreds of chaos times? How many years? This is a bit too long. All undead ghosts, are they? Can't it reach its peak in advance? Jian Wushuang asked. No, even if you are amazingly talented and domineering, but to reach the supremacy, you must wait until the peak period. And to reach the peak period, you must spend hundreds of years of chaos. But the hundreds of chaos periods are too long. Many undead ghosts can't survive that day. They were killed during the growth period. Only a very small number of undead ghosts can survive the peak period. Become supreme. Truly can run rampant in the universe. Even the top supreme can't help it. 3 heads M. Dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 38:12. In addition to the long growth period, the undead ghost has another disadvantage. When Moyen said this, the words suddenly turned again. In fact, this cannot be said to be a disadvantage but an advantage. How to say? Jian Wushuang surprised. This is the case. The undead ghost is unique in the universe. It is a group that many practitioners are amazed at. In the vast universe, less than 10 can be called the peak group. Any one group is huge on the basis of the number of people. The only group of undead ghosts has only a fixed number of 99. But it is still the peak. This group is totally favored by the universe. Because of this, they are basically treasures all over their bodies. Moyen said, the whole body is treasure? Jian Wushuang stunned. Yes, the whole body is a treasure. The magic flame smiled. The bodies, blood, and even hair of the undead ghosts. As long as everything in them has high value in the universe, they will take the undead ghosts. For the gods, even a dead undead corpse that has fallen for many years, as long as it is kept intact, it is comparable to all the supremes. Of course, the most precious thing about the undead ghosts is the source of their vitality, that is their life core. That is the treasure that is enough to attract the madness of the vast universe. Life core, Jian Wushuang looked, can cause countless supremes to go crazy. The value of this life core can be imagined. It is precisely because the undead ghosts are treasures all over the world, and their bodies and life cores are too precious. Therefore, as long as the practitioners in the universe see the undead ghosts, they will try to kill them. It is their shortcomings, said Mo Yinyan. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang smiled dumbly. The whole body is treasure, but it becomes a disadvantage. In fact, the husband is not guilty and guilty of guilt. The undead ghost is full of treasure, let alone the master. Even the supreme will be crazy about it, which naturally leads to the undead ghost in the universe's living environment is not very seconds. This group would be long gone without the death of an undead ghost. Devil Flame, you have been talking about the undead ghost, but what is the direct relationship between the undead ghost and the ghost in front of me? Jian Wushuang asked. The relationship between the two has grown. Mo Yin laughed. Master, I just said that the undead ghosts have a terrible vitality. Let me not talk about how they were when they were alive. Even if they had, you are dead. And even after you die, the blood they leave will evolve into new life. This is the origin of the ghost in front of you. What did you say? Jian Wushuang was startled. You mean the dark red monster that I am beheading is actually the blood of an undead ghost? Yes. Demon Flame nodded. If I'm not mistaken, there should have been an undead ghost who once fell here, and its blood has spawned a large number of ghosts. It is only in this dim demon domain. There will be so many dark red monsters. Is that so? Jian Wushuang knew, and followed him again. I had fought with this dark red monster before, and it's okay to smash its skull and heart. This vitality is really terrible. It is indeed the blood of the undead ghost. It came, but after I pierced its abdomen it died? Of course, the core of the undead ghosts is their life nucleus. As long as the life nucleus is not broken, no matter how serious the injury is, these ghosts are transformed by the blood of the undead ghosts, and they have also inherited them. Some of the characteristics of the undead ghosts are also the core of their life, which is in their abdomen. Just now, the owner's sword penetrated this ghost's abdomen, crushing the life core of his abdomen, and he died naturally. Moyen said. So it is. Jian Wushuang fully understood. No wonder just heard a sound of broken glass when breaking through the belly of this dark red monster. The sound should come from the broken heart. Master, there is an undead ghost here. And the blood of this undead ghost can spawn a bleeding-colored ghost. This undead ghost is likely to reach its peak, that is, the highest level. It is also the ultimate dominating level. If such a dead undead corpse stays here, it is definitely a huge treasure. And if you can get it, then you will be sent. The body of the undead ghost? Jian Wushuang's eyes also brightened. He just heard the demon flame said. The body of the undead ghost is comparable to all the ordinary supreme net worth. And the undead ghost is a treasure all over. Even if it is ordinary hair, it is bound to be priceless for him, who is just the master of the rule. Of course, the most important thing is the life nucleus. Demon flame, if you really have undead ghosts in this dim demon realm, will there be any left of this undead ghost's life core? Jian Wushuang asked. A complete life nucleus is definitely impossible. If this immortal ghost core is complete, it will not die. But since he is dead, it is obvious that the life nucleus has been broken. However, although you can't get a complete life nucleus, you may have a chance to get some life nucleus fragments. Shards? Jian Wushuang frowned. Just fragments? Even if it is only a small piece of debris, as long as it can be retained, it also contains great opportunities. If you can get a small piece of the master, with this fragment, you may directly understand a piece of the law of the universe. Magic Flame Road. What? Jian Wushuang jumped inside. As long as you get a small piece of life and nuclear fragments, it is possible to directly understand a trace of the law of the universe. The law of the universe. This time he came to the darkened demon realm and ventured. Didn't he fall into the bottleneck because of his strength, and couldn't find a way to understand the law of the universe? And this life nuclear fragment can help him understand the laws of the universe? Opportunity. A once-in-lifetime opportunity. Master, don't be too happy too soon. The sound of the magic flame sounded again. The nucleus of the undead ghost can really help you understand the laws of the universe. But I can see that this battlefield has existed for a long time. In such a long time, the cosmic power contained in the undead race's life nuclear debris will gradually pass away. As long as the cosmic power has completely passed away, the life nuclear debris will collapse and dissipate. I don't know if there are any life debris left here for so long. Emperor Jiotian dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 38:13. Jian Wushuang frowned. The fate of the nuclear fate is extremely precious, and it is definitely a rare opportunity for him. However, if no frag nuclear flake has been left in this dim demon domain, he will cry without tears. I hope that there are life nuclear fragments in this dim demon domain. Don't need too much. 2 or 3 pieces should be enough. Jian Wushuang secretly said. In the darkened realm, Jian Wushuang continued to glide forward. His speed is still very slow, and the power of his soul has always covered the range of thousands of miles around. Although it is only a few thousand miles, it is still enough for him to discover the locations of those dark red monsters in advance. And those dark red monsters are transformed by the blood of the undead ghost. The wisdom is extremely low, and they do not know the soul detection at all. As long as the Swordsman Wushuang did not approach them within 100 miles, they could not find the existence of Jian Wushuang. Because of this, Jian Wushuang can easily avoid these dark red monsters on the way. In a flash, 3 days passed. Although 3 days have passed, Because Jian Wushuang's speed has been very slow, he has not traveled too far in these 3 days. 3 days of continuous deepening. Should I reach the depths of this dim demon realm now? Jian Wushuang secretly thought. Of course, he doesn't know how big this dim demodulation is, and no one knows this astronomical domain, so he can't be sure whether he has reached the depths of the dim demodulation. He is only based on his own guess. After all, with him deeper, he has seen more and more dark red monsters along the way. And these monsters are no longer there alone, but at least several of them are gathered together. There are even more than a dozen heads, dozens of heads coming together. These dark red monsters, with a single sword and 2 swords without a pair of swords, are not at all in mind, but if there are dozens or dozens of them, even if he has some headaches. Fortunately, he deliberately avoided these dark red monsters along the way. At this time, well, are there monsters again? Jian Wushuang's soul power has sensed the existence of a full range of ferocious breath. The 8 breaths are truly 8 dark red monsters, and one of the 8 dark red monsters is significantly larger than the other 7 heads, and the fierce breath emitted from the body is also more horizontal. It's so strong, it's much stronger than the ordinary dark red monsters. No surprise, this should be the kind of monster that can compete with the top dominating power? Jian Wushuang looked. In the information he obtained before, he mentioned that there are 2 types of dark red monsters. One is the most common and most common. It can be comparable to a high-level master, and barely approaches the top master. And strong, that is the top dominates combat power. Apparently, the monster with a larger volume that he saw now belongs to a relatively strong dark red monster. Only those monsters with average strength have a large number. I may have a headache, and this monster that is comparable to the top masters, it is better not to provoke it easily. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly and planned to pass around. Suddenly, not good. The sword's 2-sided color changed in vain. He had sensed that when he was about to get around the 8-headed monster, the darkest red monster with the largest volume, and the strongest among the 8-headed monster raised his head suddenly, an amazing fierceness. The sigh of breath suddenly rose up. Roar! A scream of horror echoed fiercely in this world. This scream, with endless killing intent, straight into the sky. Intruder, die, die. Kill him. After the roar rang, a less clear hissing sound followed. The 8 dark red monsters within the swordsman's soul perception, led by the strongest dark red monster, have burst out at an extremely fast speed and rushed directly towards themselves. Discovered. Jian Wushuang looked a little ugly. It was his own care. When he saw the dark red monster with a larger volume, he knew that this monster was more powerful and comparable to the top master. He also thought that this monster might be slightly stronger than ordinary monsters, but stronger. Not too many. Therefore, when he was detouring, the distance was slightly closer, and it was estimated that it was about 1,000 miles away. But the stronger dark red monster, across 1,000 miles, realized his existence. So there is now this scene. 8 heads of dark red monsters are comparable to top masters, and 7 heads are close to top masters. Although this lineup alone cannot threaten me, since these monsters have discovered my existence, I will flee here unless they erupt, or he will always follow me, and other monsters will be notified along the way to kill me. But once I broke out too fast, it would produce a lot of movement, and then it would attract other monsters. The sword had no double-faced capacity. If it is on the periphery of the dim demonic domain, this dark red monster is not common, and it is found that he directly flees and flees. But now I am afraid that it is close to the depths of the dim demonic field. There are many dark red monsters here, and the branches are dense. In this case, he erupts too quickly, passing under the eyelids of these monsters. I am afraid there will be more monsters. There is no way but to fight them, and to kill them at the fastest speed. There was a hint of killing in Jian Wu's eyes. This is the best solution. Perhaps during the battle, the might will attract the monsters around him. But as long as he is fast enough, he can leave first. Kill! With a low drink, Huang Quan's divine sword appeared in the hands of Jian Wushuang, and a pair of huge black wings spread out behind him. Shuangguang Phantom Body Act directly deployed. Sword Wushuang is like a fish in the water and easily travels through the void. The 8 dark red monsters were already killing them at the fastest speed. But before they could kill Jian Wushuang was the first to meet them. The dim shadow of the sword lights up. This sword shadow is dreamlike and intoxicating, like a huge sword net, covering the 8 dark red monsters in front of it at the same time. Too fast and weird. Except for the 8 strongest dark red monsters. The other 7 heads couldn't even see how Jian Wushuang came out with the sword. Laugh, 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 laugh. The sound of the 7 swords rushing into the body sounded. The 7 dark red monsters with the same strength were also extremely insane. In front of Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship, they looked like paper. The body of the 7-headed monster started from the abdomen, was cut in half directly. Emperor Jiotian dear, click in and give a good comment. Chapter 38:14. The abdomen was cut open, and the body was cut into 2 parts. The most important thing was that the life nucleus of the 7 monsters were all broken. With a broken life core, no matter how strong the 7-headed monster is, it can only be killed immediately. As for the monster with the strongest strength, which can be comparable to the top-dominated monster, he waved his arm to resist the sword of the sword unparalleled. But his shape was also directly sunk. The sword has no twin body shape, and Shuangguang Phantom's close-up moves directly follow, appearing like a ghost on the side of the last monster. The long sword in his hand is directly stabbed, and there is a horrible spiral of strength, and the space seems to be strangled by the sword light. That monster's figure was in the sinking stage, and it was too late to resist the sword Wushuang. The monster's belly exploded, flesh flew, and the life nucleus hidden in the abdomen was strangled by terrible power, and it also collapsed at this moment. Instantly, this dark red monster comparable to the top master also died on the spot. In terms of strength, these monsters are indeed very strong, especially the large one, which can withstand the sword I just had. It is definitely the top dominating combat power. Unfortunately, although there is no combat power in the air, there is no immortality. As long as I know the weaknesses, it is really easy to kill them with my strength. Jian Wushuang smiled indifferently. In an instant, he killed 7 heads close to the top master, and a dark red monster comparable to the top master. Sword Wushuang was very calm in his heart, not proud. After all, these monsters are only transformed by the blood of undead ghosts, with low wisdom, empty combat power, but no immortality, which is far worse than human cultivation. With Jian Wushuang's current strength, it is easy to defeat a top master. But to really kill a top master, such as killing Tianping Master, it is very difficult. First of all, Tianping's lord has an immortal body. To kill him, he must annihilate his entire body of power. Second, Tianping's lord himself has body protection secrets, and there is also a treasure armor. All these means combined, even if the sword is unrivaled, at best, it can only cause some damage to the Tianping Master, and it will take a long time to kill it. This also has to ensure that Tianping do not flee. However, even if this dark red monster has the top dominating combat power, it does not even have an undead body, nor does it cultivate any secret skills, nor has the treasure protection. It is purely relying on its own body. Yes, his body is hard, nor can I ignore the sword attack of Jian Wushuang, not to mention the magic sword used by Jian Wushuang, or the strongest Huangquan magic sword. I really want to kill. I kill 10 dark red monsters. It is much easier than killing a human top master. Jian Wushuang sighed. Followed by a wave of the 8 dark red monsters, the corpses were all included in the Qianquan ring. The bodies of these monsters are so hard, especially their 2 arms, which are comparable to the high cosmic treasure, and their corpses naturally have some special uses. After doing all this, Jian Wushuang left immediately, and just like he thought, he burst into great power when he started, and the roar of the monsters before him really attracted the arrival of many monsters in the surrounding area. Unfortunately, Sword Wuxuang's hands were too fast. The eight-headed monster was beheaded instantly. So when other monsters rushed here, Jian Wuxuang had already left, and those monsters also emptied. However, with this encounter, Jian Wuxuang rushed into this darkened realm and became more cautious, especially for those monsters that are larger and more powerful and comparable to the top masters. After all, that kind of monster can detect his existence thousands of miles away. And now that he is in the dim demonic realm, the range covered by the power of the soul is only thousands of miles. In the perception range, the advantage is not as great as before. In particular, the deeper and deeper the monster that Jian Wuxuang calls it elite for the time being, the more and more difficult it becomes. 10 days pass quickly. Jian Wuxuang's current position is getting closer and closer to the depths of this dim demonic realm. Here, Jian Wuxuang found that he could now say that every step he took had to be cautious and cautious. No way, it's really that the monsters around them are too dense. There are monsters gathered every few thousand miles, and they are gathered by dozens of dozens, among which there are elite-level monsters exist. He is rushing here. As long as he makes a few noises, and is noticed by those monsters, I am afraid that there will be a lot of monsters slaying around him in an instant. I finally understand why so many top masters broke into this dim demon realm before. But there were only 3 who really went out alive. Jian Wuxuang couldn't help sighing. He can imagine what happened to the top masters. When the top masters first entered the darkened realm, they would not encounter any danger, so they would continue to break through, and the 8 Chengdus broke into the depths. Gradually, the top masters will deal with this dark red monster. With the ability of soul perception, the top masters can calmly deal with those dark red monsters at the beginning. After all, they can be easily avoided, but as they continue to go deeper, there are more and more dark red monsters. And their actions also it's getting harder. At this time, if these top masters choose to leave in this way, they can survive, but these top masters come to the dim magic domain to get the chance, and leave without any chance. Most top masters will certainly not choose this way. So they will continue to drive until they reach the depths of this dim demon realm, such as Jian Wuxuang's current position. When it comes to this, Jian Wuxuang has rushed to the point of difficulty, and those top masters, who are just general level, are even more difficult to act. Slightly accidentally found by those monsters, there will be a large number of monsters besieged to kill them, cannot escape. The 3 masters who went out alive from the darkened realm at first were either powerful enough to survive and leave in such an environment, or they didn't really come to this depth at all. They didn't meet me now. Danger! Jian Wuxuang muttered. Dangerous, yes, he is indeed very dangerous now. After all, there are all kinds of dark red monsters around him. In the thousands of miles of his consciousness, there are 3 such monster teams. Each team has dozens of monsters. 100 heads. Dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 38:15. When you come to the depths of this dim demon realm, you must not cause any slight movement. With a little movement, there will be a lot of monsters besieged. Those ordinary top masters will not escape if they escape. With a slight smile. As for my words, fortunately there is a magic flame that you told me. After confronting the 8-headed monster before, Jian Wuxuang knew that he had to go deep into the darkened demon realm. In addition to the arrogant strength and life-saving means, the concealment means was also very important. After all, you can only hide well, so that those monsters can't find you. Then you are naturally safe. Therefore, in the period of deep into the depths, they have been looking for hidden secret cultivation. He has been in this star field for so long. Even the master has beheaded and killed, and he has obtained a variety of resources, including some unique secrets. Like the mystery of concealing the body shape. He has it, but the level is not high, and it can only be regarded as a general level in this star field. This general level of mystery is hard to hide from those monsters at the elite level. Fortunately, Jianwu has a magic flame in his hands. This magic flame was the master of the ultimate level during his lifetime. Not only was he overpowered, but he also spent time in school in the vast universe. His knowledge was extraordinary. The mystery of the hidden body shape naturally understands this magic flame. Under the request of Jian Wushuang, the magic flame taught Jian Wushuang a secret mystery. The level of this mystery is not too high in the vast universe, but it is much stronger than those hidden mysteries in this star field. And this mystery is relatively easy to practice. Just in a few days, Jian Wushuang has mastered it. After mastering this hidden secret operation, Jian Wushuang immediately tried it and found out that with this secret technique, even those monsters at the elite level can no longer sense his arrival in advance. It went into the depths of this dimly demon domain relatively smoothly, and so far there has not been much noise. I can sense the existence of those monsters around me, but those monsters can't find me. Even though there are many monsters around me, I can still deal with them calmly. Jian Wushuang chuckled. He was wandering alone in the depths of this dim demon realm. After a long time. Jian Wushuang's expression suddenly moved, and a look of shock appeared on his face. Many monsters. Jian Wushuang can sense thousands of miles directly in front of him, and there are a large number of dark red monsters gathered. A fierce and arrogant breath came into the sky. Jian Wushuang consciously swiped past, and already saw hundreds of such monsters. And this was because his soul power covered the area just near there. As he slowly approached that area, those sensed the more monsters there are. Too much. Here, there must be thousands of monsters. Jian Wushuang looked surprised. Along the way, there were many monsters he encountered, but the most were only dozens of monsters gathered. But now there are thousands of monsters gathered in front of him. Among the thousands of monsters, most of them are ordinary monsters, but there are still dozens of elite monsters. So many monsters gather. Is there anything special about that area? Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows, and even though he was performing the hidden technique, he approached the area carefully. Before long, he appeared in the void around the thousands of monsters. And here, even without the power of the soul, with the naked eye sword unmatched, you can see a large number of dark red monsters gathered on the ground in front. And in the center of this land, there is a stone with an extremely strange shape. On the blood-colored stone, there were still a few white light spots floating quietly. Those white light spots are extremely dazzling, and the breath emitted is also extremely unique. That's... Jian Wushuang's eyes were completely locked on those white light spots. Life shard, yes, that's life shard. The demon flame in the scarlet gourd was also excited. Master, you're really lucky. This dim demon realm is left by the undead ghost shard. And not only one, but several and more. Jian Wushuang's eyes also flashed a thick surprise. The white light spots suspended above the bloodstone. The dazzling white light seemed to contain a special magic power, which could not help his mind quiet. And the densely crowded monsters staying around the bloodstone looked at these white light spots with enthusiasm. Obviously, those white light spots were of great significance to them. Not only one piece of life nuclear fragment. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands tightly. There are as many as 4 pieces floating on the bloodstone in front of his eyes. And this is the only area in the dim magic domain in this area. Elsewhere, I am afraid there are other life nuclear fragments. However, although this nuclear fragment is in front of me, it is not as easy as I want to get it. Swordless eyes narrowed slightly. The bloodstone is at the very center of many monsters. He wants to step on the bloodstone and take away all the life core fragments. He must pass through these monsters. Even if he gets the life core fragments, he still has to. It's not difficult to escape these crazy monsters. Moreover, Jian Wushuang also found that the life core fragments on the bloodstone are not all suspended together, but scattered in different positions of the bloodstone. Even if he rushes on the bloodstone for the first time, if he wants to collect the life core fragments, only it can be collected one by one, and it is not possible to collect all 4 life nuclear fragments at one time. Novel. It is a bit troublesome. Jian Wushuang frowned. He didn't choose to do it the first time, but thought about it. He was wondering how he could get life nuclear fragments from the siege of these monsters, and it was better to get all 4 life nuclear fragments at one time. Master, these ghosts are all transformed by the blood of the undead ghost, and the wisdom is very low. The life core fragments left by that undead ghost should be similar to the relics. Existence is precisely because of this. They will pay great attention to it. The main thing is that if you take a shot, it will definitely cause these ghosts to be mad. Demon Flame said, I know this, am thinking now, how can I easily get the life nuclear fragments, or how to reduce the risks by doing it? Jian Wushuangdo, reducing risk? It's almost impossible. Mo Yin shook his head. Dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 38:16. I can see that the reason why these ghosts are gathered here is to protect the life nuclear fragments. This is their mission. The Master, if you want to get the life nuclear fragments, you can only forcefully break through them. This way in the past. Missouri Yin Road said, Can you only break through? Jian Wushuang frowned. If you go straight, the risks are not small. You know there are thousands of monsters gathered in front of you. There are dozens of elites, which is equivalent to dozens of top masters. It is definitely not easy to grab the 4 life core fragments from under the eyes of this mini monsters and escape. Anyway, you have to try it. Jian Wushuang decided. Immediately, he approached the bloodstone cautiously. The occult technique taught to him by the demon flames is really good. He has now come to the periphery of the monsters, but none of them found the sword unmatched. Jian Wushuang is still slowly approaching. His idea is clear. First, of course, he must get as close as possible before the monsters do not find him, so that when he takes the shot, he can reach the bloodstone as fast as possible. So he only come closer. It's very close. Sword Wushuang is very close to where the monsters are gathered, and they are less than a mile away. Suddenly, among the thousands of monsters, dozens of elite monsters with the strongest strength all raise their heads at the same time, apparently already aware of it. Rush! Jian Wushuang didn't hesitate. The moment he saw the dozens of elite monsters looking up, he immediately burst out his fastest speed. I saw a pair of huge black wings spreading out behind him, and the mysterious phantom body burst out to the extreme. The breath on his body soared into the sky, and the whole person was directly inserted into the monster group like a sharp sword. At the same time there was a big noise. A lot of dark and cold light swept wildly. These dark and cold rays of light are a lot of magic light. Triple magic light mirror field suppression. In the Shuangguang realm that combines Shuangguang and Tianyi, this terrifying area covers thousands of miles around, suppressing thousands of monsters in this area. Roar! 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 The roar of trembling sounds one after another. These roars carried an unprecedented madness and anger. Thousands of monsters in this area have been awakened. I saw countless violent breaths, and almost locked Jian Wushuang at the same time, followed by a large number of dark red monsters attacked wildly. However, Jian Wushuang's speed is too fast. He originally tried to get as close as possible, shot immediately after being found, and shot out the fastest speed, plus the triple magic light mirror combined with the field suppression effect of the Shuangguang realm on those monsters, making those monsters have a high speed. The amplitude is weakened, so that when these monsters reacted and rushed to fight, Jian Wushuang had broken into the monster group, and was very close to the bloodstone. Life shards are just ahead. Jian Wu's eyes flashed with unprecedented firmness. He could feel the mighty intent in all directions. The monsters that came to him from the rear and from both sides are now ignored by him, but are directly in front of them, and there are many monsters blocking them. No way, this is after all the monster group. Although he rushed in for the first time, there must be a monster in the front to block it. However, for these barriers, for Jian Wushuang, the frontal defeat is enough. Kill! Huang Quan's divine sword appeared in the hands of Jian Wushuang. At this moment, Jian Wushuang didn't dare to hide anything. He almost burst out of his strongest power almost immediately. I saw a sound of dragon chanting, and the 30% of the dragon's power with the endless dragon armor had also blessed him. Intruder die. Those monsters blocking in front of Jian Wushuang all waved their 2 arms. And those 2 arms like swords slashed down. And in a short time there was a lot of dense light, like a long river rushing towards Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang burst out of the Shuangguang phantom method to the extreme, and saw a strange stream of phantom flashes. And his figure easily passed through the gap between these knife lights, and then the dazzling sword light lit up. Get away! A growl and a huge sword came down like a 9-day waterfall. Jian Guang is cold and carrying terrifying power, covering almost more than a dozen monsters at the same time. These monsters all gathered their arms to resist, but as a result, more than 10 figures were actually split out at the same time, including 2 monsters that reached the elite level. Jian Wushuang's body was not obstructed in any way. It was a rush, and at the same time the cold sword light was on. An elite-level monster still had scarlet eyes, and kept the look of madness and anger, but its body had been chopped into 2 sections by Jian Guang, and his life core was broken on the spot. Elite-level monsters, comparable to the top masters of the practitioners, can be cut and killed in an instant when the sword unparalleled explodes. Speaking slowly, in fact, from the sword Wushuang suddenly broke into the monster group, and then the brutal offensive repels dozens of monsters in front, and the elite monster is beheaded. In this short moment, the monsters that came from the back of Jian Wushuang and the 2 sides have not yet had time to approach him. But Jian Wushuang has defeated all the obstacles in front of him, and his figure has already stepped on the bloodstone. As soon as he stepped on the bloodstone, Jian Wushuang's eyes immediately locked the piece of life nuclear fragment closest to him. With a wave of his hand without hesitation, Jian Wushuang directly received this piece of life nuclear shard in Qianyan's ring. The first nucleus fragment is at hand. Jian Wushuang was pleasantly surprised, but when he looked up to collect the second nucleus fragment, his face suddenly changed. Not good. Jian Wushuang looked at him in front of him. There were already hundreds of monsters standing there, and from both sides and behind him, there were a lot of monsters attacking him crazy. And he was very close. In this situation he has no time to collect the second life nuclear fragment. Escape! Jian Wushuang made an instant decision, and immediately turned around to escape from this place. But rushing in is easy, but trying to escape the monster group is extremely difficult. After all, in any direction around him, there are no fewer than 100 monsters blocking it. Jian Wushuang instantly locked the direction in which he broke in, and a chill filled the sky instantly. Emperor Jiotian dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 38:17. Hundreds of monsters. Jian Wu's eyes were cold. So what, the one who blocks me? A sharp howling sound emanated from Jian Wushuang's mouth, and his eyes glowed with dazzling light. Endless divine power swept wildly. At this moment, in addition to the 2 cards of Demon Flame and Dragon Extermination, he has already shown his strongest combat power. Buzzing. A strange voice suddenly sounded. It's as if Xiao's voice is simple and low. A gorgeous sword shadow diffused out. The sword shadow was hazy, but turned into a cloud of mist. There are hundreds of monsters in front of the sword without double sides, and most of them are covered by this mist. These low wisdom only know that the monsters desperate to kill the sword unparalleled did not notice the extraordinariness of this mist. But just a moment, the dazzling light shone in the mist. Heaven and earth seem to have an extra sun out of nothing, but this sun is extremely cold. Ha! The sound like a weak cut rang in succession, and a monster was ruthlessly cut off by the dazzling light, and the life core of the abdomen was also broken. Just this moment, the hundreds of monsters blocking the front of the swordless double face, the half covered by the fog, including 6 monsters that have reached the elite level, silently, their bodies all fell down. With just one sword, more than 60 ordinary monsters plus 6 elite monsters all died. The power of this sword is truly amazing. Cultivation for thousands of years in the second day of the Red Cloud realm has completely brought my understanding of Kendo to a whole new level. My perception of the origin of the Kendo universe is even comparable to the master of the third series. During these 10,000 years, I created the strongest sword skill Hazy. Under the explosion of my strongest power, even if Yu who has reached the second level has been faced, I am afraid it will have to be severely damaged, and these are not even immortal. And extremely stupid monsters, under my sword, it is impossible to survive. Jian Wu's eyes were cold, and he was not surprised by the results of the sword he had just created. Red Cloud Realm practice for the second time in the heavens. His promotion in Kendo and swordplay was too great. The strongest sword art created is obscurity. The underlying Kendo universe is extremely deep. It's really easy to kill these lowly intelligent monsters. However, while Jian Wushuang used the strongest sword skill Hazy to slay these monsters in front of them, those monsters who came from all directions to surround them had never been idle, but shot one by one, despite a certain distance. However, there are still a lot of swords and swords. The sword lights that came from all directions attacked each, and every knife light was extremely sharp, and the power was extremely excellent. The point is that these knives cover too wide a range, and they can be found in all directions. Guard the earth, come out. Jian Wushuang directly casts his strongest body sword skill. Buzzing. A large number of swords, meanwhile, with a large amount of earthy yellow energy, it instantly rises, forming a heavy earthy yellow earth sword area. Almost in a blink of an eye, Jian Wushuang gathered the 32 major sword areas in front of him. It should be noted that when Jian Wushuang ran on the peak of the Tianfeng Peak in the Red Cloud Realm and faced the siege of the Snow-White Ape Man, the Three-Eyed Demon Woman, and the Stone Man, the Earth Sword area he cast was only 13. The 13th body protection ability is also extremely tyrannical. Generally the top master can't break. But now, 10,000 years later, he casts the guardianship of the earth, and the instantaneous condensed earth sword area is full of 32. From 13 to 32, the improvement in the middle is really too big, and the protection of the earth is stronger than stronger. On the power of body protection, the 32-layer earth-guarded sword area is definitely 10 times stronger than the previous 13-layer earth sword domain. 32 major sword areas covered the entire body of the sword, and those sword lights attacked from all directions hit the earth like raindrops. But after a round of attacks, the 32 major sword areas were only defeated by 16, and they were just half defeated. So weak. Jian Wushuang couldn't help but be surprised, but he soon understood. Although there are a lot of monsters attacking him around, and there are many sword lights that hit the Earth Guardian sword at this moment. First of all, these sword lights are displayed by those monsters from a long distance. The power will naturally weaken during the grazing. Secondly, these monsters are scattered to attack each other. Their attacks are all single and not concentrated, so the impact on the Earth Guardian sword domain is not too great. This level of attack does not threaten Jian Wushuang at all. Hurry up! Jian Wushuang did not want to stay longer. In front of him, more than 70 monsters were beheaded in one fell swoop. A gap had appeared in the monster group in front of him, and his speed burst immediately to the extreme. With the Shuangguang Phantom method, it was almost instantaneous from this gap. Rushed out. Come out! Jian Wushuang's eyes brightened, but it was too late to be surprised, and he found that the crowd of monsters behind him had killed him like a wasp. Along the way, these monsters also screamed one after another. These screams were so loud that they were clearly calling on their companions. It looks like I'm staring at me completely and swearing to kill me. Jian Wushuang frowned, but he was also mentally prepared. He knew very well that if he started, he would surely be besieged by these monsters. And not only the thousands of monsters guarding the shards of life nuclear debris, but also a large number of monsters scattered in the depths of this dim demonic realm will hear the news. What he has to do now is to escape in the hands of these monsters. There are too many monsters, and when I heard the call for help, it is estimated that a large number of monsters gathered in the dim demonic realm will rush towards me. In a short time, I I don't know how many monsters will gather here. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed slightly. I don't care so much. Anyway, there is such a big movement, and I don't care if it gets bigger. The magic power of Jian Wushuang rolled over. That was originally combined with the mysterious realm, but it only diffused the magic light field in the surrounding area of thousands of miles. Under the control of Jian Wushuang, the power suddenly increased, and the coverage range was also at a terrible speed. Expand. Thousands of miles from the beginning, in the blink of an eye, actually directly permeated millions of miles. Suddenly, the deep void of the entire dim demon realm was covered by dark magic light, and completely fell into the magic light realm. And a lot of dark red monsters in this million-mile range were naturally shocked. Chapter 38:18. This so many monsters? Jian Wushuang, while energetically evoking the field of magic light, also covered the power of his soul over those streams of light, which can clearly sense the scene in this range of millions of miles. But at this point he completely choked. He hadn't exposed the magic light field before, but only used his own soul to investigate, and he could only sense a range of thousands of miles at a time. Thousands of miles and millions of miles, the gap is too big, and there are too many monsters within a million miles. There are countless violent and violent breaths, at least tens of thousands. Breaking intruder. Kill him. Roar. Roar. And many monsters within a million miles have been awakened by the magic light field of Sword unparalleled. I saw a large number of monsters, with dozens of heads gathered together, and hundreds more heads gathered together. From all aspects they came violently. Jian Wushuang is already in the center of these monsters. If so many monsters come together, even if I am 10 times stronger, I won't be able to stop them. Jian Wushuang's eyes widened. The lowest strength can be comparable to the monster dominated by the higher, tens of thousands? Sweeping this star field is no longer a problem. Jian Wushuang's strength is strong, but in the face of so many monsters, there is no room for competition. Escape. I have to escape the sight of these monsters. At least I can't let these monsters surround me, or I will really die. The sword has no double-faced dignity. With the help of the magic light field, he can easily sense the position of many monsters within a million miles, and then he is the first to burst out his fastest speed. In terms of speed, with the help of Shuangguang Yantiani, his speed is a lot faster than that of the top master. These monsters in the dim magic domain are not good at speed, even if they are elite-level monsters. It is also far behind him in speed. He fled at the fastest speed the first time. At least the thousands of monsters chased and killed behind him could not catch up. What he has to do now is to find a way to avoid those monsters who are siege. 3,000 miles away in the front direction, there are about 40 monsters, elite level with 2 ends, and quickly avoid. There are more than 300 monsters in this direction. Hurry up. You can't go here, bypass first. Jian Wushuang relies on being able to sense the position of those monsters, constantly changing the direction and position within a range of hundreds of miles, and avoiding a team of monsters coming from the siege. But after a moment of effort, Jian Wushuang's brow frowned again. No, I can't go on like this anymore. The sword was cold on both sides. Although I can sense their position in advance, and avoid these monsters as much as possible, the magic light field I cast is too dazzling. Although these monsters are stupid, they can still sense the existence of this field. Since they have a field, they know that I am still in this area. And then they desperately come towards the center of the field without retreating. In this way, when the surrounding encirclement slowly shrinks, I want to avoid it. Can't be avoided. In the magic light field, although he can sense the positions of those monsters in advance, so as to avoid those monsters. But the same magic light realm also made him a light in this dim magic realm, and also exposed his position. Those monsters can know that he is still in this area according to the realm, and it must be in the realm. At the very center, he will continue to siege him. Maybe at 1:30 he can still entangle with these monsters, but after a long time, there are more and more monsters gathered around him, and the circle is getting closer and tighter, then he can't avoid it. To this day, the only way to get rid of the immediate dilemma is to find an area with no monsters or fewer monsters within the million-mile range covered by the magic light field, and get there as quickly as possible, and then converge the field and hide the figure. Jian Wushuang secretly said. He said it was easy, but in fact he knew for himself that there were monsters in the area within 1,000,000 miles, or no monsters. Although there were several places, the monsters in that area played, because the monsters originally gathered there were crazy came over to where they were. In other words, if you want to go to that place, you have to break through the obstacles of a lot of monsters in front of them. Those monsters, Jian Wushuang carefully calculated, almost cannot be avoided. Within 1,000,000 miles that I can sense now, there are 4 areas where I can hide my body. I have to encounter a lot of monsters in any of these 4 areas. I can't avoid it. But by comparison, there are fewer monsters encountered along the road. Jian Wu's eyes looked like electricity. He relied on the magic light field to master everything within 1,000,000-mile radius, and naturally knew the number of monsters in those areas. There are a lot of monsters in all possible areas. 3 of them are densely packed. At least swords have to break through the obstacles of 5 to 6, and the number of monsters encountered by each one is quite large. In the last area, the number of monsters should be a lot less, but he has to get there. Even if he tries to avoid as much as possible, at least he will encounter obstacles from triple monsters. Jian Wushuang studied it carefully. The 3 monsters, fortunately, only had about 100 heads, and less than 10 heads at the elite level, but they could not bring him too much trouble. After all, once his hazy sword came out, it could completely crush the hundreds of monsters. For the 3rd monster, although the number of gathered monsters is more important than the first, there are about 300 heads, but there are not many elites. Jian Wushuang also has the confidence to break through the obstacle of this heavy monster. On the contrary, it is the 2nd monster obstacle in the middle, and now it has gathered more than 700 monsters, of which the elite level is no less than 40. The obstacle of this heavy monster is more difficult than the 1st and 3rd. Much more. However, although it is difficult, it is too much compared with other areas. There are even thousands of monsters gathered in other areas. I have no choice but to break. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands tightly, his eyes flashed sharply, and the wings behind him suddenly stretched out, rushing towards the area blocked by the triple monster group. Along the way, he naturally avoided other monsters as much as possible, but the triple monster obstruction was inevitable. Soon, Jian Wushuang encountered the obstacle of the first monster. Emperor Jiutian Deer, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.